What is up, everyone? I'm Kyle Viveris from Your Daily Nerd, and welcome to episode 3 of the YDN Cast. Episode 3! Hey!
3! Hey, we made it this far.
Yeah!
3.
Of course, I am Kyle Viveris, joined as always by Miss Jackie Coleman.
No, 3.
Austin Bean is now one of our permanent members of the YDN Cast. Mr. Logan Turner making his return back. He's back this week. Mr. Nick Swank and Tristan Zamora were not available this week. Like I've said before on here, we're all busy college students. But to fill their place, the magnificent, the wonderful, Mr. Travis Pope.
It's me.
Welcome, Travis. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm gonna ask you a couple questions just like about yourself to kind of give everybody a little bit of like a frame for what your gaming history is like and what you like to play. What would you say is probably your favorite gaming system?
I've owned all the gaming systems,
right,
up until like the Wii U and everything. But I would have to say probably the Xbox. Big fan of that, the Xbox games.
The Xbox original or the 360 or
the original.
The original.
I love the original Xbox.
What games specifically?
The original Halo.
Ooh.
That is a good fucking choice.
So many memories playing that game.
So many friendships ended because.
Oh yeah. 1v1 me.
1v1 me.
Kills
Nerd.
friendships.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, that's good. Well, we're really happy to have you here. It's going to be a real fun time. I want to cover a little bit of housekeeping here at the very beginning of this before we get started. So on Friday, we put out a Your Daily Nerd update video just talking about what's going on new with the channel recently. First and foremost, we have merch for sale.
Oh, yes.
Please go to... you can go and buy t-shirts, baseball tees, and hoodies that have the wonderful Your Daily Nerd logo, as you see right here, right on the center, so you can show everybody your wonderful nerddom. You can go to bonfire.com/YDNerd, and you can purchase a t-shirt, a baseball tee, or a hoodie. All of the there's a portion of each of those that gets sold that goes directly back to us, and then we put that money back into the channel and to helping it grow. For example, we've already sold some, and with the money that we've already made of it, we're actually going to be able to start putting out a audio-only version of this podcast, which is great because that means you don't have to just be sitting there letting YouTube occupy your phone and just kind of hang out.
Yeah.
I know you guys don't have YouTube Red. YouTube Red is annoying.
Look, I'm a little ugly to look at the video. Let's be honest. We all know it.
So, with having an audio-only version of the podcast going, that means that we'll be able to start sending our podcasts out to iTunes, the Google Play Store, Stitcher, anywhere that podcasts will be found. We're going to try to get the YDN Cast out there, and you'll be able to listen to in whatever way is convenient for you. So be on the lookout for that coming here in the next month or so. Once the campaign is over and we get that money, then we can put the funds towards that, and we'll actually be able to start providing that service. Again, like I covered in the introduction, Austin is now part of the YDN Cast as a permanent member. So that brings our total number of people up to 6 people that are part of this cast. So 6 for the regulars, but sometimes I think we'll probably have like 7 people, including a guest. Yeah. For next week, we already have it planned so that we have a guest that will be here next week. Jackie's boyfriend, Mr. Dylan Graves, will be here.
You mean my boyfriend?
Yes.
All of our boyfriends.
All of our boyfriends.
This is news to me.
Yeah.
Awesome surprise.
You're all my boyfriends now.
On Facebook, it says it's complicated. It's like 7 people.
It's like a circle. They don't have a polyamorous relationship option on Facebook.
Interesting.
I thought they
You'd
would.
think, being 2018.
Wow. Come on, Facebook. Get it together.
Get it together.
But, so with that in mind, just keep on watching the YDN Cast, listening to the YDN Cast when we put out the audio-only version. And the big announcement, the one that I kind of teased at on Friday in the video, is now we have an official website.
Woo!
As of this video, when going up, you'll be able to go to www.ydnerd.com, and you'll find all of our shit there. Well, not all of our shit. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about...
Literal pictures of my shits.
We're really excited about... We're really excited about the website being launched. Damn it.
Kiki for who?
Damn it.
This is already, it's already begun.
Sometimes you just want to do a nice ad read, and then people start talking about
Shit.
Okay, fine. We're real excited about the website. You'll be able to find all of our videos there here in the future, but we're not going off of YouTube. Everything will just kind of be conglomerated into. The website will actually be a nice location for to find all of our stuff in one area. You'll be able to see our Instagram feed will be there. Our Twitter feed is there. Our videos are there. Hell, if you wanted to, you can stop watching this video right now. Go over to ydnerd.com. You can watch it there too.
Do it.
Fucking.
The internet.
We have a merchandise page there where you'll be able to find said link to bonfire.com/ydnerd that I was talking about earlier. You'll be able to find out a little bit more about us on our staff bio page. And if you have any questions for us, you can hit up us on our contact page. Email us with a question, and maybe we'll feature it as the rotating segment on the YDN Cast. Maybe I know the name of my podcast. Maybe.
Surprise.
Have to know the name of it.
Wow.
Too.
But so
Wow.
that's the big announcement. YDnerd.com. Hit it up. It's awesome.
Heck yeah.
So that's all the housekeeping that I have. So let's go ahead and move on into what's everybody been playing. Logan, what have you been playing?
Oh god. Okay, so mine's actually kind of like a little bit weird. So do any of you guys know this? It's a game. It's a very old game. It's called I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
Can't say I've heard of it.
No.
Okay, so it's based off of this book that was published, or a story that was published in like a sci-fi like novel magazine like years ago. And the idea is that like in this post-apocalyptic world, there was 3 supercomputers that were during the Cold War. They were made in like China, Russia, and America. And then one of them absorbed the other 2 and named himself Am. And because they all have artificial intelligence. And so he names himself Am, which is supposed to be like artificial master, angry master, and then eventually goes to like the name of him changes as like the people in the world die off because he ends up basically killing the world, except for five, a certain amount, 5 or 6, and you play as like, and he's kept these people for like these last like couple of humans alive for 100 years, like torturing them, messing with them, trying to get them all messed up. One of them, his name is Benny. He literally used to be a very intelligent, very smart man. Literally like degraded him into a monkey and gave him a giant penis. So he can only have and then he made the one girl that's there, Ellen, like obsessed with sex as a whole. So now they like have sex with it's crazy. Anyway, that's the story. The game kind of points you where each of these characters go through, like in the beginning kind of explains like who Am is and who each of the different characters are. Mm-hmm. There's Benny, Ellen, there's Nimdok, who is it is implied that he's like a like German Nazi scientist. There is Tom, I think is his name. There's like 2 more. Yeah, so it's 5.
So what kind of gameplay is it?
It's like a point and click kind of game. It's very old, very point and click. It's easily one of the hardest point and click games because there's multiple endings, and like inside of each of the characters' different like dreamscapes, as they're called, like different areas. Your character can either die, it can have a bad ending, or you can have like the 100% good ending. Mm-hmm. And depending on which one of those you get and how many of the other ones you get in the other people's like areas, it affects the last area of the game where you have to choose one of them and like go through like the last area where you like, you know, do whatever with Am. And like it's crazy.
It sounds fucking nuts.
It's so cool though. It's literally so hard though, because like at one point I like played the game originally by itself and was like, cool, I'm gonna play. play it with no guide and see how it goes. End up getting like the worst ending possible. Like Nimdok and Ellen died. Nimdok and Ellen just died in theirs, and I was like, I thought I was doing it right, but apparently not. And then I looked through a guide, and I got like the true ending or whatever, but it's still kind of bad because like the story isn't happy and doesn't end happily. But I have no mouth and I must scream. Good times. Good scary time.
I have no mouth and I must scream.
And it's, bless you, and it's based off of the last line, because in the book, what ends up happening is, the book is different from the actual game. It's like inspired or a spinoff, essentially, because in the book, they're like trying to find canned food, because they haven't had food or water in 100 years. And so they all try to go find canned food. And then they find out that they find the canned food eventually after braving all of this nonsense along the way. And then they find out they don't have anything to open the cans with. So then Ellen is like, the only way to surpass Am is to just like end our lives. So they all start like killing each other except for Benny. And Benny's like the last one alive. And then Am is like, nah, I know what you're doing, and turns Benny into like a gelatinous form that can still think. And literally the last line of the book is, I have no mouth and I must scream. And that's where like the whole title comes from. It's very dark, very depressing, but it's a good time. Dorkum Demons.
Fantastic.
That just sounds trippy.
Oh, it's great. It's super fun. It's really hard. Like that's the one thing, is that it's incredibly difficult, but it's super fun. My favorite line of the whole game is, you play as Benny and you are like with these like tribal people, and so they don't speak English, and the way he communicates with them is like, if you're trying to be like, why is this kid being sacrificed, he'll be like, who? And I'm just like, what?
Yeah, so obviously they get it.
Yeah, right. And then the people are like, and he's like, yeah, the blah 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 blah, and I'm like, how did this interaction occur?
Oh my god!
At all, I don't get it. So yeah, 10 out of 10. Good times.
I don't know what to do with this information.
I feel like I gotta play this.
No, you need to.
Is it on Steam? Or like, how did you find it?
I originally found it on GOG, which is like, I don't know if you know what that is. It's like another distributor.
Good old games.
Yeah, Good Old Games. It's like another distributor of games because
okay.
it's so old. It could be on Steam. I didn't really check because I figured GOG would just have it because it's like a older, more obscure game.
Have you played this before, or is this your first time playing through it?
I knew of the story and I knew the game existed beforehand, because I had like read the whole story and I was like, wow, this is awful.
Right.
Not awful in
This is
content, but
weird.
awful as in like the story is really like sad. But then I was like, you know what? I watched one of my favorite streamers streaming it and playing it, and I was like, okay, I have to stop because I need to play this because this is crazy. Yeah, so you also meet Satan, you meet angels, there are demons, but the demons are like supercomputer people that are like, you can't handle the way that they look, so they perpetuate themselves as demons. It's
Oh wow.
It's a good time. Fun times.
How many hours of gameplay is it?
I
think I got to play this game.
You need to.
Yeah.
So
Do
the
a
way
let's play.
when
Yeah.
I finished it, I had about like 10 hours in it. Or my first run was 10 hours, but that's also because I'm an idiot and I got real frustrated at some parts, and I was like, "What? I can't find what to do." So, there's that. And then like if you have like a guide with you, it's like an hour or two, but it's super old. So I think like that's an excuse for it being so short. Mm-hmm. So I don't remember the exact date it came out, but it's like easily like old like point and click adventure. But it's really cool. If you ever want to like experience a trippy point and click adventure with like multiple endings, which is very rare in older games like that, why not?
I have no mouth.
And I must scream.
There you go. Anything else you've been playing, or is that about it? Or?
I focused on that a lot of this week, and then I've been writing a lot of my thesis this week, so sadly I didn't get to play anything new.
Ooh, that sounds like a fun old time.
I mean, it's okay. I'm excited because, like, I get to, non-game related, but I get to write because I'm focusing on, like, there's this thing called, like, the minority, it's a minority stress theory, which is this idea that, like, as a minority, you experience, like, prejudice and discrimination and these all types of different stressors that, like, lead to you having lower physical and mental health, and I'm using that as like a way of explaining like risk-taking behavior in like LGBT people and like ethnic minorities and stuff like that, and kind of explaining like why like drug abuse is really high in these types of areas, why alcoholism is really high, why suicide rates and mental health suicide rates high, mental health low. Why even people committing like sexual deviancy, like promiscuity, and like all kinds of nonsense. So it's interesting. We're gonna see how it goes.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, I want to like survey our school and stuff and get like a survey for everyone to take and see like, because there's like different scales that they've made that you can implement into surveys that like help. One is like identifying the fact that you are somehow a minority, and then one is like a coping scale. One of them is like a self-esteem scale that I'd like to use to kind of measure that. There's like stressors in general, it's different stuff. Right. So it's super interesting, and I'm really excited because I'm reading like the original document where this idea came from, and it's from 2003. It's actually really recent.
That is very recent.
Which is really cool because there's stuff currently coming out about it, which is really cool because I feel like as like a white cisgendered gay man, I feel like I have like an obligation and an opportunity to like advocate for like minorities as a whole in this way, and being like, hey, like you're all what's wrong and causes these people to do these things,
right?
But I don't know. I'm excited, and it's really a really cool experience and like opportunity for me. So
yeah, it seems super interesting. Definitely keep us posted with how that progresses.
I'll stress and I'll die. That's what's gonna happen.
Be an old man by the time it's all done.
I have no mouth and I must scream. Exactly.
Travis, a little bit. So we've got a little bit of your gaming history. What have you been playing over recently? I know you said you haven't really been playing much lately.
I've been playing my business law textbook.
Business law textbook.
I play World of Warcraft.
Ooh.
How is that going these days?
It's going. It's about the same,
I was going to say, did you see that they're coming out with like a new DLC? I think it's called like Battle for Azeroth.
Yeah, Battle of Azeroth.
So like, how like into the World of Warcraft like lore and gaming stuff are you?
I'm not too into it. I've got a friend who I play with. He goes to NSU. His name's Jordan Wild.
Oh yeah.
He knows. He's like lore master. He knows all about lore of Warcraft.
The lore of Warcraft.
Yeah. The lore of Warcraft.
That's a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a movie.
I saw it. I watched the movie.
I wanted to see it. I heard it was okay.
Not terrible.
As a video game movie, it was good. As a normal movie,
fair enough.
I haven't even seen it.
Compared to the Assassin's Creed movie,
terrible.
Good.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the Assassin's Creed movie.
It's awful. Don't watch it.
They got that new Tomb Raider movie coming out this month.
That seems interesting.
If it's not Angelina Jolie, I will not watch.
It's not.
I don't know how to take it. It looks like it's
have
gonna
you
be
seen
more.
Ex Machina?
Yes.
It's the
robot girl.
Yeah, it's her.
Ooh, I actually kind of like her though.
She's a good actress.
She is. She's great.
This seems like they're kind of taking it more in the direction of like what the more recent Tomb Raider games have been, and not the old Tomb Raider games.
Oh,
so everyone's got to have an origin story.
So
of course.
So maybe it'll be good, right?
Maybe.
I haven't watched any of the trailers though, so
I've seen some of the trailers. Like it does look like the new games, basically.
I mean, that's good. Those games are good.
Yeah, they're good. Which they're so good. Basically, you get to watch Laura kind of go from being like, I'm a little archaeologist girl to like, I can shoot guys in the head with a shotgun and they're gonna die. And somehow do with supernatural things happening and not have a mental breakdown. Even though I'm like literally 22.
I am a better treasure hunter than Nathan Drake ever will be.
Yeah, if Indiana Jones was a woman.
If Indiana Jones
and a badass.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he already is.
Indiana Jones is a badass.
Indiana
Jones is a badass.
Okay, I'm not trying to discredit Indiana Jones.
Hold up.
In a different sense.
He is a different kind of badass.
Like,
Yeah.
Lara Croft goes around with machine guns. Like,
Yeah.
First, to be fair, she doesn't start off with that. She like goes off with like a bow at first. After someone tried to like sexually assault her in the beginning, she like kicks him in the face, gets a bow, and is like, "You killed all my friends." And then eventually she gets a gun where she's like, "Ba ba 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 ba," and I'm just like, "What?
what else would you do with a gun?
Yeah, right.
Let's not get in that conversation.
What else would you?
It's interesting in the first Tomb Raider game, not the first Tomb Raider game, but like Tomb Raider of the first of the new Tomb Raider games. There's
2014, 2015, something like that.
Yeah, it's really good, really good.
Both of them are.
It's very interesting to watch her progression go from how she is at the beginning of the first Tomb Raider game of the new Tomb Raider games to seeing how she is in Rise of the Tomb Raider. Mm-hmm. She's a completely different person because she's like like you said at the beginning of the first one, she's just like every little kill that she has to make, whether it's wildlife or a person, you can tell she feels horrible about it. Like it's like one of those awful things. But then like she ends up going like pretty like full Nathan Drake by the time of like the Rise of the Tomb Raider, where she's just fucking assassinate, just like everyone's dead like in Rise. It's just like
it's good. It's a good time though. It's nice to see. It's nice to see that they put like a woman character and a very like showing her become really strong. Like even though she was strong in the beginning, she's also like, hey, look, I can kick your ass now.
I want to play through those games again.
They're so good. Isn't there like a year? Like, isn't there like a jump of time between the first and second one? Like in the timeline, right?
Yeah, I think it's about a year.
Which between the first game and the second one, in that year, she gets real desensitized and turns into Nathan Drake.
It's real interesting. Like kind of the way Rise of the Tomb Raider starts off is like you kind of find out that Lara has been going to therapy. And like counseling after all the events of like the first Tomb Raider game, because like that situation would fuck anybody up. Like
it's basically her like, is it like her sister, her like love interest or something? Because they low key put Laura in like this weird like possibly bisexual.
I think she's her best friend, but it does kind of feel like there are some romantic undertones.
Basically, she gets like kidnapped by like these like indigenous people who are trying to like sacrifice her to a god.
But they're
they believe that she's like the avatar or incarnate version of the
god
or something like
God,
that.
It's been a little bit.
It's been a lot. Basically, you end up fighting ghost things at the end, which is really cool. But like you have to go save her. So spoilers, but it's been out, so you should play it. But yeah, World of Warcraft.
Yeah. Yes.
This conversation really diverted.
World of Warcraft, Lara Croft.
That was a great segue.
World of Warcraft. There we go.
World of Warcraft. What class? Okay, are you Alliance or Horde, Travis?
I am, Horde.
Yes.
I feel like there's like not even like an actual. Real
come
question
on. My best friend is Jimmy Leach. Of course, I'm Horde.
Yes, exactly. There you go.
Very true. Jimmy just reminds me of orcs. Like he looks like an orc.
Yeah, I'm a blood elf paladin.
So mean.
No, I'm not mean in a mean way. Listen. Not all orcs are ugly. Okay.
I looked like an orc over winter break because I had an allergic reaction to something.
Oh God.
It's my face.
Oh my God. Who do you play? What class do you like to play?
I'm a blood elf paladin right now. I'm currently leveling I think it's a undead priest. Mm-hmm. Shadow priest right now. So.
Ooh.
I have tried to get into World of Warcraft in the past, like doing like the free trials, but I'd hit that free trial. Like I'd hit the level barrier of like level 20, and then I'd be like, okay, that's all I really need. Do you have any advice for anybody who is wanting to get into MMOs but like doesn't really know like how to like really stick with it or find the fun in it?
Play with a friend.
Yeah.
Like, play with a friend who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And can, like, teach you the ropes and, like, show you, like, oh, you need to do this, and, oh, this quest is over here, and just...
Right.
Yeah. When I played Final Fantasy 14, I wish I had someone who did that.
Yeah.
So, I definitely agree with that.
That was me and Dylan in RuneScape.
Yeah.
Back in the day when you could... Like, did you sell yourself as a girlfriend?
What?
You could be like,
will be girlfriend for $17K.
Yes.
No.
You could have. I did that all the time. I totally faked being a girl in RuneScape for like the longest time. I was
called catfishing?
back when I was like 7. I was like, I didn't even
I'm gonna
know
have to call Neve and Max on you.
Yeah,
Is this
right.
what's gonna happen?
Please. Please, I love Max can come anywhere near my house anytime he wants. But no,
Only on the YDN Cast.
but no, I would definitely say that as well. Cause like I played Guild Wars 2, and like when I would play that with my friend Jonathan, like he'd be like, "Oh yeah, like this raid is really fun, but you gotta do this because there's like traps everywhere."
Mm-hmm.
And he'd be like, "If you don't roll this way, you're gonna die." And then I die, and he'd be like, "See, I told you." And I'm like, "I suck at the game. I'm sorry."
Fair enough.
So have you been like going through what's like the last thing they had? Like
His Legion was the.
Yeah, Legion was the last.
Did you ever have you gone to like that content and like
Oh
played
yeah, we're actually past that. We're waiting, just chilling and gaining item level right now, waiting for like the next
Azeroth, the
Yeah,
Battle of Azeroth.
just waiting.
I think didn't you tell me that like that expansion coming out was what made you kind of like
Exactly.
resub?
Because I played back in like 2013, 2014, and I got tired of the grind, and so I'm just like, okay. But then I heard like the expansion was coming out, and I got back into it.
Right.
And it just sucked me into it super hardcore.
What about? Are you excited for like? What about Battle of Azeroth that has you kind of like excited?
Well, they've got vanilla servers.
That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to
Please
that.
explain.
Basically, with the vanilla server,
Poor Jackie.
Please explain.
Jackie's like, why is there liquid in these servers?
no, so vanilla servers are basically servers set up so that you can play World of Warcraft, but it rips out all of the content that's after the initial launch of the game. So you'll be playing the game basically how it was when it first came out, which a lot of like purists like it that way.
Yeah.
And
Like, because the initial, what was the first one? Battle of the Lich King?
No, it was Burning Crusade was
Burning
the first
Crusade.
expansion.
Yeah, and then like a lot of the expansions like change a bunch of different areas that you've seen because stories happen. It's like, oh, I'm going to destroy a forest, or the world's going to die, or blah 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 blah. I released a giant fire-breathing dragon that is destroying the planet. Whatever. Spoilers. The planet, whatever. So it's cool. So you get to go and be like, wow, this is what the Warcraft world looked before it all got fucked up, even though it was still kind of fucked up before.
And I think they've talked about how it's like, hey, it's going to be like how World of Warcraft was when it first launched, but it's going to be minus like the awful way that it was when it first launched. Like lots of bugs, lots of server crashes, and
Looks
things
better.
like that.
Like the way it intended.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
But so you have vanilla servers. What else?
Now.
Do they have a new class or?
Yeah,
race?
they've got a few new classes that just came out. There's like a Night Fallen. There's a High Mountain. You can do High Mountain Tauren. There's a few more. I can't exactly remember because it's been a few weeks since I've played.
Right.
So
What's a Night
that's all
Fallen?
I've really got right now.
What's a Night Fallen? That sounds dope.
It does.
It's like an elf, some kind of elf of some kind.
Neat.
Cool.
Yeah.
Here for it.
I'm not the WoW spokesperson.
Right. No, you have
Do
to
you
speak
work for Blizzard?
You have to speak for all of World of Warcraft fans right now.
Right.
What is this?
There's someone at the screen being angrily pointing, be like, "Why don't you know?
This guy
Fake
doesn't know
fan.
anything. This
Fake
guy's
fan."
stupid.
He's a big fat phony. What a casual. What a fucking nerd.
What a filthy casual.
Yeah, right. Oh no, wait. No, I had that happen to me when I was playing Final Fantasy 14. I was like trying to like figure out how to ride a chocobo because they make it so unintuitive. You have to like open up the riding mount like panel, then go into the chocobo panel. Then the chocobo has a special ability that you have to open, drag the skill to the bar, and then close all of them and click save on the bar. And I was like, this is so much. So I
Just to ride one?
just to like ride it. And so I like asked in like a public area, was like, hey, how do I ride my chocobo now that I have it? And someone was like, fucking casuals. And I was like, I am subbed. It is a sub only game.
That's your nickname now. Logan the filthy casual.
God damn it, Logan.
What the hell?
You know you love it deep down.
Austin, what have you been playing lately?
I hear them.
I've been busy with like midterms coming up this past week, so I haven't been gaming too much. So I guess that's been everyone this week.
Yeah, that's kind of the
Yeah.
theme this week.
The ladies.
No. This week I've played Necropolis, which is similar to Dark Souls.
Ooh.
I've heard about Necropolis.
It's similar to Dark Souls, but all the dungeons are randomly generated.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
And, you go throughout the game and try and get as far as you can. You progress through like levels, kind of like in Call of Duty Zombies. I guess is the closest way to describe it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's really frustrating at times because the game is satirical in its way, and when you die, the game will make fun of you, or like give you some philosophical bullshit that ties in with the lore of the game. It's very self-aware.
Right.
Good.
The AI of it is really great, and there's just a lot of parts that get really annoying. And you can play as like 4 different types of characters. You can play as... They have like specific names, but you can play as like a light character. They move really fast, and you can choose between male and female.
Mm-hmm.
The male has more health and is a little bit slower, but the female is faster.
Probably has a smaller hitbox
Yeah,
too,
it
right?
has a smaller hitbox, and she's faster. There's also bigger characters who deal way more damage and can take a lot of hits.
Mm-hmm.
There's a male and female of that. And then there's certain armories you can get through the game. I've only come across 2 sets in my entire, like, owning the game. I've owned the game for about a year and a half now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't play it consistently. It doesn't have a huge story to it. It has lore that you can pick up that's just kind of bullshit, and it's kind of funny sometimes.
Right.
And you can pick up different spells just by progressing through the game. So, like, even if you die, you can use the currency you earn through the game to purchase like spells later on.
Okay.
And there's crafting in the game, and then the enemies are pretty crazy. There's like, you'll come across in one dungeon, there'll just be this giant red spike in the middle of the ground, and then as soon as you walk up to it, the screen turns red, and then multiple enemies just phase out of nothing and come up right there, and you have to kill all the enemies before the crystal goes away, and you can progress into the next area.
Okay.
There's also like skeletons, there's traps, there's chests, and then the whole goal is to try and get to the next level. So depending on what armor you find, depending on the things you can find, you can access certain areas. Apparently there's spell casting in it. I have no idea how that's done, but you have to find like a mage armor for that, and then you have to find a room that you can cast spells in, and only the tinier characters can cast spells.
What?
And I found it as a brute, and I was like, this doesn't help me.
This doesn't do anything.
Right.
I think the farthest I've made it is level 4, and then once I finally died in there, the game said, most people don't make it this far.
Well, that's a nice
Thanks, game.
backhanded compliment.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's frustrating. I can only play it at maybe like 20 minutes at a time because I'll die like twice, and I'm like, okay,
I'm over it.
I'm over it.
Is there? I was gonna say, is it kind of like? Is there like an end state that you know of? Like, you know how in Binding of Isaac they have like you go through the different levels, but there's like a final one, kind of.
I don't know for sure. I haven't made it that far in the game. I'm kind of a casual with it. But,
Wow.
but
Bunch of fucking casuals on this podcast.
yeah, I've been playing that.
You're damn right.
You're damn right. I'm a student.
I always seem to get back into Call of Duty as well. I picked up the COD 4 remaster, and I'm still on that nostalgia trip. And they've added some great additions to the game. They have an event going on right now.
I've attempted to play the multiplayer.
The community is not the same.
Yeah.
It's a lot of...
quick scoping.
No, there was more quick scoping in the initial release because it was broken.
Yeah. It was
Like,
ridiculous.
if you thought MW2 was bad, COD 4 was way worse.
Sure.
Speaking of MW2, there's rumors going around that a Modern Warfare 2 remastered is coming out.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I've been hearing
And if that comes out, you guys won't see me for weeks. Like,
Well, I live here.
I was
so.
just-
you won't see me for weeks.
Well, I live here, so.
Gotta get to 10th Prestige, level 75.
I think I saw the actual like
I'm
like a
hungry.
picture
I
of
don't
like
think-
or like the quote of a retweet of that on Twitter. It was just like, ladies, if you thought you didn't see your man when Fortnite came out, you're not gonna see him forever when this comes out.
Oh
And
my
I was just
God.
like,
That's true.
yeah,
MW2
probably.
still has like
I
an
didn't see
active
my man
community.
when Breath of the Wild came
they
out.
keep
What are
the
you
server
talking
up?
about?
Like on like I know on PS3 and like Xbox 360 they're still up.
Any game.
COD 4 is
Just gone.
not up anymore. It got
Pong
ran by
remastered.
hackers,
Gone.
So,
basically.
Wow.
so have you been playing anything else, or is that about it?
I think that's about it. A little bit of Overwatch. The Overwatch League is going on, so I follow that slightly, and I've gotten into that a little bit more. I main Zenyatta for the most part, and do Reinhardt sometimes as well.
You don't. Wow, Zenyatta is such a casual character.
That's actually
He's a great support
No,
character. Shut up.
What the heck? I don't know. I don't know what
Casual.
some. I don't know what like Zenyatta you play with, but like all my Zenyatas have been garbage.
I am a good Zenyatta.
I'm decent.
Though again, I played when I was over at Jonathan's. I guess this is part of what I played. I got to play. I have not played since Doom. I haven't played Doomfist, Orisa, or Moira.
Last time I played Overwatch, Doomfist wasn't even out yet.
Yeah.
Orisa had just come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like
That was a year ago.
Yeah.
That was like a year ago today.
Moira is
Wow.
my least favorite character to play.
No,
against.
I love Moira. She's so
I
cool looking.
haven't played yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So talking about Overwatch actually is a little bit of a good segue into So we still don't have internet here at the house, but when
Rip
it
in peace.
yeah, for 2 weeks now, fun. But
It
something.
works really well with internet classes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I've kind of started showing Jackie a little bit of Overwatch. I've been kind of exposing her to the animated
Getting
shorts.
education.
Ooh.
Like, so we've been. So once the internet comes back, we might actually do a Let's Play series of
Please.
like Jack, like
No!
Jackie
don't
learns
wanna see
Jackie
that.
learns Overwatch.
No, it needs to be Jackie learns how to play Widowmaker. Only Widowmaker.
Oh
Oh my
god.
god.
Only
no.
Widowmaker.
On console.
That,
On
I
console.
honestly, I feel like that sounds like a good like series in general.
Widowmaker is the sniper character where she's like purple.
She's this
Okay.
super French
super French.
sniper.
She's like Hot Topic edgy sniper woman, French woman.
Alright,
Literally.
I guess I'm on
Literally,
board
her.
then.
She's great.
Or
We'll get her to play Sombra, her daughter,
Right.
her like make believe daughter in design. At least I think so because they remind me of.
I mean,
each
I feel like that sounds like a good idea for like a video series where it's just like
Jackie plays
that, like
games.
Jackie learns video games is
Kinda
the
like
name of the
Backseat
series.
Gamer.
Yeah, backseat gamer.
Yeah.
Can it just be like Jackie reacts to, and then it'd be every Overwatch character? Like you show her.
I'll do like one of those ones that they do with like the old grandparents or whatever, and I'm gonna show her a different Overwatch character. What do you think this person's
Oh my
name
God.
is?
Name this Pokemon.
Name this Pokemon.
His name is Hamilton.
Right.
You see that shows the lady that's
shows her friggin' Winston and be like, who is this? She goes, Harambe. Winston's a giant
I
monkey.
know.
Oh,
I know that one.
you know that one. Who else do you know?
which ones did I show her? I showed her the
70.
Oh, Soldier 76.
Yeah.
yeah.
him.
Dad 76.
Yeah.
Dad 76.
She knows who Reinhardt is.
Yeah.
Grandpa Ryan.
I showed her the Honor and Glory
Ooh.
animated short.
Oh, that's a good
So
one.
It is so
His hair was
good.
fantastic.
What?
His hair was fantastic.
I love her the whole thing of that. She gets his hair. The animation on his hair is so good.
That was something that he said. He said in the my hair was fantastic.
That is so good. I just love how she still was just like.
Which
Interesting haircut.
I showed her the Winston and Reaper one. Was that Recall?
Ooh. Did you like Reaper? How'd you feel about edgy Hot Topic Reaper?
He's smoky.
He doesn't even do that in the game. It makes me so angry. They make his teleport look so cool in the cutscenes, and then in the game he's like, "Yeah."
He also caught me while I was doing my makeup, so I was like half watching.
I like how Reaper sounds like the host from Toonami.
Oh my gosh.
It's not the same voice actor. I already checked,
Ooh.
but he
You're right.
sounds like
He
the host.
does.
What else? I showed her.
When he showed you the somber one, the somber one's really cool.
Somber one is neat. I didn't show her that one. I showed her the Genji and Hanzo one.
The brothers.
Yeah,
the
I like
brothers.
that one.
Yeah.
You like the brothers?
Mm-hmm.
So
Who did you like better?
I don't know.
Did you like Bow Guy or Mechanical Ninja Guy?
I don't know.
Which one did you think was hotter?
my God.
There is a correct answer in this.
What's the correct answer?
Neither of them.
Okay.
One of them is a robot.
Exactly.
And the other one's
he's not entirely robot.
He's a cyborg.
He's okay. He's a robot where it matters.
He's a robot.
He's a robot.
He's a robot.
He got a robot penis. He got a.
Stop ruling office.
He got a robot penis.
He got a robot butt.
I'm
But yeah.
dying. I'm dying on the inside.
yeah.
So because we still don't have internet, haven't played a whole lot of games. Jackie, I know you've been busy too. Anything to report?
I mean, okay, I played a little bit of The Binding of Isaac on my computer.
Hey,
Oh, yeah?
yes.
I can't beat more than like 2 levels.
Hey, I can't be one.
Yeah.
Like, I've gotten through 1 and then like die every time in the second
Don't you
one.
just do you ever get to mom?
No.
Mom's awful. Literally, her foot comes from the sky.
Why?
I don't know.
I haven't.
Mom
gotten that
is just
far.
like, and I'm like, wow.
But I get
10 out of
angry because I can't figure out the damn controls, and then I leave. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
ugh.
I hate the one thing I don't like about that game is I don't like, and I get it's the point of it and like a part of the charm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like how they ever explain any of the power ups. You have to go outside and look them up, right?
Yeah, like-
it'd be different if you could like go into the shop and you talk to the guy or you do something and it shows you eventually, you know.
I
like a
think that
description
maybe-
when you like look at the item.
Yeah, or
like
something.
if you pick it up and they're like, here's a text box. Here's what you do with it.
Right.
Okay, bye.
Because, like,
Like-
the only time they ever do that is if it's, like, damage plus health HP up. I'm like, I can understand that. Not when it's, like, you have a spider on the side of your head that, like, when you get hit, it randomly summons a fly and it attacks things. I'm like, how would I have ever known because I don't want to be hit? I don't-
You get hit, and then it happens.
And then I'm just like,
Talk
oh,
shit.
get hit.
Well, I never know what the little cards do. Like, you pick up the little cards, and you have to, like, you're like, well, I guess, I hope I don't die. And then you, like...
And then you press it and you're like, wow, I died.
Exactly. I've done that too many times.
Yes, I'll die.
Yeah,
Wow.
whatever, I guess.
It was in the cards, you could say.
Thanks.
I'm in hell this week.
So,
then-
if I can leave if you'd like.
No. No. So, Binding of
then-
Isaac.
A little bit. I need to finish Dream Daddy.
Mm.
I need to finish it.
need
I
to
can't
finish.
pick though.
You need to finish.
Who-
I
Dream-
can't pick my Dream Daddy.
Who are you down to?
Okay, I really like Hugo, the English teacher. Is that his name?
Yeah, the one that looks like low-key Thorgy Thor from Drag Race. Yes.
And then I really
Gay
liked.
references.
I really liked
Drag references, excuse me.
Damien.
Is Damien
That's
the
Victorian goth daddy,
Victorian
right?
goth.
Goth? Oh. Wait, so Hugo...
I liked
yeah,
him because he's like Hot Topic trash.
he
Travis,
is
have you
on
heard
top.
of Dream Daddy?
No, Damien's the one that's hot. Damien's the one that's Thorgy Thor. Hugo... Is
It's
Hugo
an
the one with
Adult
the
Swim,
kid?
like, dating
He's the
series.
he's the darker
shit.
complexion.
Oh, him.
The
him.
English teacher,
Okay.
history teacher. Or
Yeah,
something
oh,
like that.
he's hot.
like
Jackie, would you mind explaining for anybody who didn't watch last week,
Oh.
or for Travis, what Dream Daddy is?
It is a daddy dating simulator.
A dreamin' daddy dating dim simulator.
Doug
Doug
Dimmadome.
Dimmadome.
A Doug Dimmadome
Doug
dating
Dimmadome.
simulator.
Let the dims
But yeah.
down, Dimmadome.
Daddy dating simulator.
It's the best. You
go-
have...
You make your own daddy, like you make yourself, and then you have a daughter, and you move into a cul-de-sac, and then like you have the hottest dads living in your cul-de-sac, and you
have-
go around and date them.
You have Damien, who's like Hot Topic trash. You
I
have
love
Hugo,
him.
who is a black English teacher man. You have
Craig.
Craig, who is at the Asian.
He's
Asian
the one
guy.
with the baby
Yeah,
strapped
Craig
on
is this
He's
Asian.
Like a
athletic.
baby Bjorn.
He says "bro" after every sentence.
But he's super hot. And then you
I
have
like him too.
you have emo.
you
You
have,
have you have like
What is the bad boy?
bad boy dad.
Robert.
You have Robert who hates you if you try to sleep with him the first time you meet him, which is
Yeah.
what I did. And he's like, haha, jokes on you, can't get my true ending. I'm like,
Yeah.
I just wanted to have sex with you, damn it.
I liked him, though.
And then
I
there's like,
liked him a lot.
isn't there a fifth one? I feel like I'm missing one. Or
You
is it
have
just...
the bigger guy with the red hair that has the corgi, and I always
he's
forget
super
his name.
cute. Isn't I don't remember his name.
I
He's
never
basically like a
remember his
large
name.
redhead Irish man who's very thick in the best ways and has a very cute corgi puppy.
The corgi's my favorite
It's
part.
so
He's got a
funny.
little bandana.
It's so cute. Travis, she would love it.
And then you have the Christian dad that has the creepy kids.
Yeah, no, don't date the Christian dad. He's weird. He's weird.
Joseph. Joseph is married to Mary.
He's a heterosexually married gay man.
Yes.
It's kind of got an interesting kind of vibe to it, where it's like it's almost like a utopian kind of society, where it's in a way where it's like sexuality is not really a thing that people really have to consider. It's like
right.
I did learn something about Dream Daddy.
What?
Isn't one of the characters transgender?
Yes.
I think it was like Damien.
Yeah, that's
I think Damien is.
I think Damien's big twist.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was like.
Which is really cool because like you don't see that a lot, especially in a game that's like Dream Daddy. You think of like blah blah blah.
Yeah,
You don't think
but
of
you
like.
can make your own character.
And you can make him as feminine
You
and
can
as
make him
cute
transgender
or ugly as
too.
you want, and that's
Mine's pretty ugly.
The game is actually
He's
written
pretty
by the Game Grumps, and then was developed by Adult Swim Games, and
It's really good.
And
It's
so
pure,
the thing
too.
is, with those two names attached to that game, you would think, wow,
You think it'd
this
be
might
weird.
be a little problematic, right? Adult
No.
Swim and Game Grumps, but it's
They give
super
you real
sweet.
life tips on loading screens.
Yeah, it's super sweet and very cool.
Oh god, it's perfect.
So Travis, play it.
Okay.
You have to play it.
so Dream Daddy. Anything else?
Plants vs Zombies, but that doesn't really count, doesn't it?
Does it?
Does
How'd
it?
you play it?
Just regular Plants vs Zombies.
Did you know that they have a mobile game? They have a mobile card
do?
game, and it's actually really cool.
Mobile card game.
It's this idea where you can play as the zombies or the plants, and you get different decks that are based off different plants and stuff. It's really good though.
That sounds neat.
It's cool.
I probably would play it.
I like it. It's a good killer of time.
Yeah, that's it.
For me, I've been pretty busy because I've been working my ass off trying to get the site ready
Proud.
and just working on the channel and getting the merch all situated and ready to go. So that's been a big focus for me this week. Also, like these guys said, midterms going on. So that's been stressful. I did, however, manage to get to play a little bit. I started over a new file on one of my all-time favorite games that I forget about that everybody needs to play.
Dream Daddy.
Darkest Dungeon.
I've heard of Darkest Dungeon. I've never played it.
I've never
It's
heard
super
of it.
good.
Have you played Darkest Dungeon?
Yes.
I have
So-
never heard of it.
It's like
So,
You gotta
trying to
play
think of the best way to describe
It's-
Darkest Dungeon.
it's like the Dark Souls of
It's a party-based 2D dungeon crawler game.
and it's very hard.
It's very hard. It's a super heavy RPG.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of different classes. Lots of
Micromanaging.
micromanaging of
Szechuan
everything.
sauce.
Oh yes, we got this. We got the sauce, Morty.
We got the sauce.
We got the sauce.
We got the sauce. The
Uh,
South. Because we're from the South.
Szechuan.
Is that-
Brought to you in part by
Is
Szechuan sauce.
No, I
No,
didn't make that
Yeah,
I
so
think he
with
was
Darkest Dungeon, there's a lot. You go a lot of very heavy into RPG elements of attack and defense and everything. But it's very. What's the type of Lovecraftian? It's very Lovecraftian type game
Yes.
with the type of villains that with the type of enemies you fight. The biggest, I think, very Cthulhu type
Oh, okay,
enemies.
Cthulhu, like
I get it
old,
now.
like old
Yep.
one.
Like old
get it
god,
now.
like the old ones, the old gods.
Yeah.
The announcer in this game, like the narrator, is
Damn it.
fantastic.
Oh, he's super cool. Super good.
Oh my god! I think you can actually get a voice pack or announcer pack of him to announce you for Dota on
I believe
Steam,
it.
and that's fantastic. But why would you replace Rick and Morty? The cool thing I think about that game that I like a lot is that it also not only do you have to worry about the regular physical health of your character, but you have to worry about the mental health of the character as well.
Which is really cool.
And different things will cause your character to get more and more stressed out. And it's like everything's on a scale of 0 to 100. And when they hit 100, they'll usually get a kind of infliction that'll basically make them either better or worse, depending on. It's like when you're super stressed out, usually you'll either
Break under the
you
pressure.
either break under the pressure or you thrive under the pressure of being super stressed out, right? So it's the same thing.
Ooh.
Oh, Forkum Demons.
Ooh. Dorkum demons.
So it's the same way with these characters as well. The hard part is that so like some of these negative qualities that they can have is like, oh, this one will make this one this quirk that they'll get will make them selfish or whatever, and so you'll get into a fight and he'll make himself like his selfish quirk will kick in and he'll move himself to the back of the party so that way he won't get hit as often by the people in the front. Party placement is a big thing that you have to consider when you're playing the game because different characters have different moves that are only able to be done depending on where they stand in the party.
Yeah.
And then they can only reach other people in the enemies based on where they are in the party too. So it's a lot of like big like thinking of just like every little moment of just like when you're making a party, you have to be like, okay, what kind of moves does this guy have? All right, well, he can only do these kinds of moves in this position, so I want to put him either in spot 3 or spot 4 near the back. Whereas, like, this character who's more like a physical attacker should probably be in the front because he'll be the one that'll be able to do the most damage in the front. Mm-hmm. So, it's hard as fuck, but it's so good. So, like, when it hits 100, the character will either get a negative or a positive quirk that will show how they react under the pressure. But then if they hit 200 on the stress meter, your character has a possibility of suffering from a heart attack.
Yep.
And if your character suffers from a heart attack and dies, it's permadeath. You don't get that character back. Yeah. So it's a very much like one of those games. It's like you kind of have to plan accordingly. Like, all right, I'm going into this dungeon right now. It's this level dungeon. I want to take this guy, this guy, this guy. His stress levels are a little too high. Maybe I won't put him in there. I'll put him at one of like the bar or something to make sure that his stress goes down. And then you go and you do the dungeon. You finish that, whatever the objective is for that dungeon, and you'll come back and you'll be like, oh, that person that you set at the bar to relieve some stress ended up getting into a bar fight and lost all your money.
Yep.
And so you're just like, so it's like just RPG shit like that. Yeah. And you just keep on playing for a long time. And it's one of those games that I love how well done it is, especially because it's a really nice indie game. The art style is fantastic. The gameplay is just really engaging. And I'm pretty sure I did not do a very good job of explaining how this game is played. But like when you see it played, it makes a lot more sense. Like another thing that you have to focus on a lot is like how much torchlight do you have left? Like the light that you have is going out, and the darker it is, the more stressed out your characters become.
Enemies can get like jumps on you if it's too low too.
There are some character classes that won't cooperate with each other based off of like religious belief. There's one character called an abomination who looks like a normal person but has the ability to transform into like this weird colossal like werewolf type creature. But like if you have other characters that are in your party that are like have like a religious belief or like are holy kind of, they won't pair up in that group with that abomination character because they don't believe in that shit. So
it's cool.
Darkest Dungeon is very interesting. I'll have to show y'all sometime. The only other thing I really have to talk about this week is I went and saw Black Panther.
Same. It's so
Still
good.
have not seen it.
Haven't seen it? Haven't seen it? You saw it?
Yes,
Let's go
haven't seen
on Tuesday.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
$5 Tuesday. $5 Tuesdays.
All I have to say about that movie, I don't want to get into spoilers about it or anything, because
The music's great.
music is
I've listened to
fantastic.
the album.
Music is fantastic.
Yeah.
Produced by
album's
Kendrick
really
Lamar.
Ooh,
Fantastic.
good. Bless you.
Thank you.
Storyline is very, very Marvel. So there wasn't a single moment in there where I didn't feel like I couldn't predict what was going to happen next.
Oh,
It's very Marvel, but it's very well written.
Mm-hmm.
Super, super well written. Killmonger is an amazing villain.
Mm-hmm.
Michael B. Jordan does a fantastic job.
He's also very hot.
The whole cast
All
is
of them.
amazing.
Right.
I love the sister. What's her name?
Shuri.
Shuri.
Yeah.
She is my favorite character. To me, she's like the unsung hero of the entire movie because she's fantastic. She's like their like technological like wizard girl, and she's just so cool. And she's so chill.
Isn't she like really young?
Yeah, she's like really young.
She's supposed to be like 16, yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, oh yeah, I like, you know.
She's like Wakanda's top like scientist. Like,
Yeah, she's like, oh, your dad, like, you know how his suit like does this thing? Well, guess what? I do it 20 times better.
Yeah.
And I made it in like half the time. Cool. And I'm like, wow, like
All
she's
right.
great.
it's a very well written movie. The only other complaint that the only complaints I have about it is it's a very Marvel movie, so it's not really
You know what's
you
gonna
know
happen.
what's basically going to happen
Yeah.
in it, even though it is really super well written. The only other complaint I have about it is that there are some moments with the CG where it just does not look good. Like it's like
Where? I'm curious.
the entire fight scene with spoiler alert: Black Panther and Killmonger fight at the end.
Oh, when they're on the,
Wait,
the thing.
Wait,
What a
but,
shocker.
Like, you said it was the villain, so yeah.
Yeah,
Are you
exactly.
talking about when they're like on the thing?
Yeah, and they're all fighting down there. Like they're both fighting down there. Like that whole scene is just so like it.
I thought it was just really badly choreographed because you couldn't really tell what was happening.
See, I like the choreography of it. I just thought it looked too much like a video game cutscene instead of
Fair.
a actual like movie scene. Like,
right.
well, you think about how much money Marvel puts into their movies. Like that didn't seem like it was very indicative of like yeah.
True.
Also, like the rhinos. Also,
The rhinos were weird.
Like,
there's like weird like they have like these weird like they're like tech rhinos, right? Like they have like shit on them, don't they? Or no, is that the end?
No.
Excuse me?
They have like this weird part where like they like have rhinos in the movie and they feed them and they put like a little moment where like it's
instead of like horses like that they would ride in
They're
the
like
battle,
riding.
they have rhinos that have like
And
it
they're
looks like
just-
their
they
horns
look
have been
weird.
like it looks like their horns have been like reinforced with vibranium.
yeah, it's weird. They're really weird looking.
But they look like super CG. Like they don't look real
I
at
mean,
all.
to be
Which,
fair,
I want the-
I feel like they're going down like the Jurassic Park route though, because you know, like it'd be hard to really make those look real.
True. But yeah, I mean,
It's good.
go see Black Panther.
Also,
it is a very good movie.
There are also 2 secret endings, so stay. There's one ending after like the fancy credits, and then there's
at
one
the
after the
very
long
end,
one.
Yeah.
That's like
I'm very. Speaking of that, did y'all hear that they moved Infinity War up by a week?
oh
Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
I saw
instead,
that.
instead of coming out on May 4th, it's now
Any-
coming out on
any
April 27th.
Reason why, or
I
Star
don't think
Wars coming out on May 4th?
is it.
I saw a tweet that was like
24th, May 24th, I believe. I
It's
could-
gotta be on May the 4th.
Hold up.
I'm super excited.
I don't know. I saw
May the 4th.
I saw a tweet that like compared that the fact that the port of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze was coming out on May 4th, and the caption on it was, "Looks like Avengers blinked in the face of the face off between what's going to make more money, Avengers Infinity War or Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze."
I'm still shook because okay, so you know we don't know still where the freaking Soul Stone is at all. There are theories.
What if Thanos
I
already
think it's in
has it?
Wakanda.
There are theories, huh?
I think it's in Wakanda.
I have a theory that I'm gonna just have all of us seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2?
Yes.
Have you?
I haven't.
You haven't?
But I'm
Have you, Jackie?
Yes.
It's the one with the gold people.
Yes.
With Kurt Russell.
What? Yeah. Okay.
The one with
Travis,
the
do you mind
dad.
if I spoil it?
You go right ahead.
Okay, so my theory.
Spoilers alert.
Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen Guardians 2, I think that the Soul Stone is going to be with Adam. Like, you know, at the end of where at the end, yeah,
Adam.
Hey, Adam. I would so name him Adam. I feel like he's gonna be with Adam because I feel like that's the only way that they'll be able to like elevate themselves. But I also don't know how that will play into Infinity War because let's be real, I don't know. I'm telling you, they have to have like a giant conspiracy board because like they have so many just open plot holes and plot lines that have to come together within 2 movies. Or within a movie, and then like another set of movies. I'm like, I don't know how. Like, I have no idea how. Also, they've also like shown, like, we all know that someone is someone is going to die in Infinity War.
Oh, there's gonna be a lot of people.
Like
dying.
we know
It's gonna be more than one person.
like we know Vision has to die because he has the one stone in his
yeah,
forehead, and
he's
we
got the Mind Stone,
and we know he gets at least all of them at one point. Like we know Thanos has at least all of them.
Well, the problem with all of this is that this is like they don't advertise it at all, but this is Infinity War Part 1.
Yeah.
Like
It's not the whole
this
movie.
isn't even going to get all resolved by the time Infinity War
And you
is
know,
over.
the thing
so
is,
like
you know how it's going to end, though. You literally know how it's going to end because you know, like, the first movie is going to be them setting it up, be like, Thanos is coming, blah, 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 blah. Then Thanos comes at some point, like, midway towards maybe the later part of the movie, kicks everyone's ass, then, like, either Captain America
probably
or
kills a few people.
kills a few people, and then the movie's going to end with either with Cap or old Cap, because I think he's not going to be actually named Cap anymore, because I think his character's transitioning to, like, what his character is afterwards, after he drops the Captain America, whatever persona, kills him, or he kills Iron Man. Like, I feel like one of those is going to die, and that's going to be the end of the first
both
movie.
of them are going to die. That's my current prediction.
Ooh.
Well,
I would shake some things up in the Marvel
Well,
universe,
yeah.
and that's what it needs.
Robert Downey Jr. doesn't want to be Iron Man anymore.
Fair point.
He's done playing the role. I think so. I feel like it's not uncommon for him to like. This would be a good place for him to just go ahead and
Die.
and cut out. Captain America would be a good death, I think. I don't think that Chris Evans necessarily wants to do this anymore because he's been doing it for a while too. Also, this would be a good moment for the MCU to expand into what their newer properties are in the comic books.
Yeah.
Because Captain America, Iron Man, and like Hulk and like are all and Spider-Man are all still in the comic books, but they're not like they're not fucking Tony Stark and Steve Rogers anymore. They've moved on to new people, and I think this will be a great opportunity for Marvel to move on and just be like, okay, so now Falcon is going to give up being Falcon and is now Captain America because that's what happens. That's what happens in the comic book, and that'd be fucking cool to see him flying around with the Captain America shield, like throwing that around and shit. Mm-hmm. That'd be neat. Kind of say that. So something I've pulled up here on my phone is a little graphic that actually shows where all the Infinity Stones are in the Marvel Cinematic Universe at this point. So the first thing we know is that the Mind Stone is right there in the middle of Vision's forehead. So Vision's gonna die.
Vision's going to die. Like, he has to.
He has to. I think.
We all know it.
Yeah.
He knows it. You know it.
Look,
he knows it. We all know it. You've got the Reality Stone, which is the
Is that
Aether.
Yeah, the Aether.
Which the Collector has.
The Collector has, like, a bunch of them, I think.
That was from Thor 2.
Thor Dark World.
You got the Space Stone, which is the blue gem, which was the Tesseract, and Loki still has that. Which I have a feeling. So this is my prediction. Another prediction that I have. I have a whole list of people that I think is going to die in Infinity War because I think that they're going to try to show what the stakes are of this movie.
Oh,
so
yeah,
Loki.
That's like the end.
So Loki has the Tesseract, and which is the blue space stone. Thanos needs that. I have a feeling that Loki is going to be like, "Hey, Thanos, I got the space stone for you. We're cool, right? 'Cause even though I pissed you off with like taking that army of yours for the first Avengers movie and never really kind of capitalized on what I was supposed to be doing with that.
But we're still cool.
We're still cool, right? So what I imagine is going to happen is that Thanos is going to take the Tesseract, crush it down so that it's bound into its rare like Infinity Stone form, put it in the gauntlet, and then just fucking backhand and kill Loki right then and there. Like now we're even, and then just walk out.
I don't think Loki can just die like that.
To be fair, Loki has almost died or has died so many times at this point that I feel like it's gonna be a little bit more of a show, right, for him to die. Plus, it's Tom Hiddleston. If he just dies like that, I'm gonna be pissed.
I hope there are some anticlimactic deaths in this movie.
Oh no, see,
where I just want Thanos to come up out of a portal and just like fucking pulverize a guy and he's just gone.
I want him to beat the shit out of everyone. Like, I know he's going to, but I want it to be so, like, I want them to realize just how big of a threat they're dealing with.
They can win the next movie. That's fine.
Yeah,
but like this one,
I want Thanos to come in and just fuck everybody.
I want Hulk to look afraid. Like, I want Banner to be in Hulk form and look Thanos dead in the eye and be afraid. Like, I want that moment because that's like, because they've always been like, you don't have a Hulk. Blah 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 blah. Hulk saves the day. Blah 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 blah.
Hulk won't save.
Hulk will not save this day. Hulk will literally be crushed.
What if in the next movie, if Hulk survives, what if he ends up getting the gauntlet from Thanos?
Isn't that like a theory? Isn't that a thing that happens at one point?
One of the theories is that so Captain Marvel is going to come in the next Avengers movie,
Yeah.
being played
yeah.
by Brie
She gets her own
Larson.
movie
Yeah.
soon.
So I know that she's going to play a main factor in that. But so like the next is the Power Stone, which is the purple one, and the Nova Corps has that, and the Nova Corps has that. That's from Guardians of the Galaxy. So that will be
they'll be destroyed.
that'll be no problem. That's Thanos and his Blackguard are gonna show up and just fucking annihilate everybody.
They couldn't handle
Opening of the movie right
They
there.
couldn't handle. They almost couldn't handle what's his face Thanos' little like bitch
Oh,
boy
Ronan.
Ronan. They could barely handle
Ronan the
him.
Conqueror.
Yeah, so they could barely handle him. So they're all dead.
And then last, the Green Time Stone is in the Eye of Agamotto that Doctor Strange wears.
Okay.
Which is like, I feel like do you think he's going to get? Do you think they're going to have that like Thanos getting that in this movie? Because I feel like they want to make a second. I know they're making a second Doctor Strange movie, and do you think they want to maybe make like do you think they want that like to him to lose that stone before the second one, or do you think they're going to have that happen after the second Doctor Strange?
I think it'll happen like after the second Doctor Strange movie. I think he will get the Eye of Agamotto stolen from him
But
in
not-
this in this movie.
Yeah.
But I don't see it like being a permanent thing for him. I don't see Doctor Strange dying in this movie.
Oh no. Plus
He's still a new character.
Yeah.
He's only been in like a
Wait till
few,
Benedict
right?
Cumberbatch.
Yeah, and plus you know Panther, I think like Spider-Man at this point, Doctor Strange, like all the ones who have had their origins kind of recently explored, I think they're all kind of in a safe zone.
We all know that Ant-Man is safe too because Ant-Man and the
Wasp.
comes out later this year.
Yeah, is that before Infinity War or is that after?
After.
Which is
I
kind of a
believe.
weird spoiler to kind of do. I would have waited till after Infinity War the movie, but
Mm.
whatever.
Looks neat.
It looks cool. My one scene in that trailer I love is that when he's like, "You gave her wings and guns," and he's like, "Yeah, we had it when we made your suit too, but we didn't give it to you." And I was like, "Damn."
All right, well, I think that's going to do it for us with coming up with this week. We're going to take a short break real quick, and then we're going to be right back with this week's news. All right, welcome back. Now we're talking about news. So first big news story of this week, Metal Gear Survive dev appears to call out Konami in a hidden message that they left. So this is from an article from IGN. Right after you've prompted to enter your name at the beginning of Survive's campaign, you'll see it added to a clipboard among a group of other military code names. It seems like a lot of people on Reddit and Twitter noticed that if you take the first letter of each of the last names on that page, it spells out KJP Forever, which could be interpreted as Kojima Productions Forever.
Hell yeah.
That's a good Easter egg.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a nice kind of little fuck you to Konami and a nice little way to basically be like, hey, this is the first Metal Gear game that we're making that doesn't involve Kojima, so let's just kind of give him a way to like a little bit of a tribute in it.
So, is this saying like the developers have like their best intentions? Like,
I
or-
don't know. It almost it feels like a fuck you. It doesn't feel like good intentions. It feels like a fuck you to Konami for getting rid of Kojima.
What is like the deal with Metal Gear Survive? Because I've like heard kind of bad things about it.
Yeah, I've not heard good things about it. It's basically, it seems like it's set in an alternate dimension. Like one of the characters that was on Mother Base in Metal Gear Solid 5, gets sucked into another dimension where there's zombies and shit.
Same. Relatable. 10 out
I've
of
seen
10.
gameplay of it. It doesn't really look too exciting.
It doesn't look like Metal Gear. That's the thing for me, is that it doesn't look like it's
Yeah,
supposed
it's
to.
just on the same engine.
It doesn't get good reviews. People are not saying good things about it.
And then they do this, and I'm just like, wow. Good times. Good times were had by all.
People are saying it's a solid 2 out of 5.
Ooh. I thought we were talking about like 5s out of 10, not 2 out of 5.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's really all there is to be said about that. Just a really neat kind of thing to have in there. Our next little news story, Cyberpunk 2077 is, quote, more ambitious than Witcher 3, according to CD Projekt Red. The exact quote came from an interview where CD Projekt said, Cyberpunk is our new Witcher 3, but even more ambitious. Our goal is to establish a new blockbuster franchise from the beginning. We work in a new universe, futuristic universe. We believe it's very appealing to players, not only RPG players, but this is a true RPG like Witcher 3, for mature audiences. It's handcrafted, detailed, of course open world with open-ended gameplay.
They fuck themselves.
I am so excited for this game.
Yeah,
So,
same.
like, comparing it to The Witcher 3, The Witcher 3 is a massive game.
I think they've really kind of nailed. I don't know. The thing is, they have to nail it, otherwise people will rip it apart.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the thing.
luckily for them, they have a
Track record.
they have a good track record with
Yeah.
the Witcher franchise to be able to be like, hey, we've made the Witcher franchise better with each entry in the series, and so now that Cyberpunk 2077, I still want to find out more about this game, is coming out. I think hopefully it's better. Yes, Jackie.
Please explain.
What Cyberpunk 2077 is?
Or Witcher.
Yes.
All of the above.
So the Witcher is
It's a Norse mythology
Yeah.
like it's
game.
it's kind of like
Well, not Norse mythology. It's like Scandinavian.
traditional fantasy RPG with more like Slavic kind of tones to it, where you play as a Witcher, which a Witcher is a monster hunter, monster mercenary, I guess is probably a better term for it. That's basically genetically mutilated themselves to the point that they are the experts in capturing and killing monsters. They're seen as freaks, as mutants, and not people who are not supposed to be part of this world. The cool thing about the Witcher series, to me anyway, is that it's actually based off of a novel series. It was a novel series first before it was a video game series, and it's just kind of taken off from there.
Very good.
It's the game most recent in the series is The Witcher 3. It's humongous. Like it's probably one of the largest maps
Absolutely.
Takes
in
forever.
RPGs like at the moment.
It's really good.
Extremely filled with content
Yes.
too.
Yeah, to the point where the card game that has been inside of the Witcher series, it's called Gwent, is literally now being made
Into its own game.
into a full like collectible card game, like video game, kind of like Hearthstone. And so it's very rich in like lore, it's very rich in its history. It's just fun.
There's so many monsters you can hunt, and there's an
Some of
encyclopedia just full of all the things you can run into.
One of the
full
main
detail of like what the creature is, what affects them, how to hunt it.
like some of the main like gameplay of The Witcher 3 is a lot of crafting potions and what's it called?
Like poisons and stuff.
Things to basically coat your blades in to be
yeah.
more effective against different monsters. So you have to find the ingredients around, and you'll go and you'll cook the whatever you need. Find where the monster, track down where the monster is, and then take them on. And then you still have to be good at actually fighting too. But like,
It's kind of hard sometimes, but it's a good game.
it's rewarding.
Some of them are scary. Some of the monsters are fucking scary. Like when they have the what are they called? The little forest. It's like they're tall and they're like in the forest and they can like disappear into like a thing of crows.
Oh,
those
yeah,
things.
yeah.
When I experienced one of those for the first time, that scared the shit out of me because like I'm like okay, I'm doing okay, and then it just turns into crows and I'm just like, where'd it go? And I was like,
this
okay,
is not
it's
what I
left.
expected.
I thought it left, and then it just whacked me, and I was like, never mind, I'm running away. This is too much.
So
Calm down the concern.
Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be the new game, the next game that comes from CD Projekt Red. This is the first time they're putting out a new game since The Witcher. I think this might be the first game that they've.
I think so.
And there's not a lot of details about it. They've pretty much just announced it. I think they might have put like a teaser trailer out when they first announced it, but there's like nothing about that game out there.
You still probably know more than that other game.
Than Death Stranding, yeah.
Oh my god, Death Stranding is nonsense. But
Does
hey,
it have a
look,
release date?
Cyberpunk? No.
Okay. So
Nope. It's not coming out this year. They've already said that it's not coming out
Okay,
2018.
we do know two things though. We do know that it's Cyberpunk
and it's going to be in the year
And
2077.
it's going to be in the year 2077.
It's
Which
gonna
I'm
be
assuming
and
is-
it's gonna be an open world RPG.
That's greater than The Witcher 3.
Which is so hard to say because I feel like,
That's a lot of people's like number one game right now.
and I don't want it to like, and I don't want it to kind of have like No Man's Sky effect where like they build it up so hard. They build it up so hard. They're like, it's gonna be so awesome. It's gonna be so great. It's gonna be better than this and better than that. And then like it comes and it just is like it doesn't reach that point to where. And then they're like, well, you know, it could still be a good game, but because they've compared it in comparison to like The Witcher 3, it doesn't look as good, right?
Well, okay, so I mean, I guess my defense of that is that Hello Games, the guys who did No Man's Sky, was No Man's Sky their first game? Like they did,
I don't know.
They're an independent company.
exactly. They were an independent company. They didn't really have like a track record of games. I think in the first place, either No Man's Sky was their first game, or they haven't had a track record that was.
I think they were dubbed somewhere else. And
super
they-
well known,
they
right.
left to
Right.
Make this
But
game.
I think where CD Projekt is different is that they have the historic, like they have a longer running like track record of just like, hey, we started with The Witcher 1, 2, and now 3, and are able to say definitively, look, we're gonna put the time in to make this great. That's why they haven't been putting out things. I think it's just they don't want to get people too overhyped, but they are more than willing to go in and say, look, this is. What we're doing with this is way more ambitious than we had with The Witcher 3. So that's got me really excited.
I'm just excited to see like take like similar systems and make them not even just current but like future, right? Because we've seen like I was so frustrated when they had when that one Star Wars game that got canceled.
Yeah.
Like,
13.
yeah, 13. Because I was gonna say this because the way it looked and the way that they showed it off, I was like, this could be like, you know, like my new favorite like open world like future stuff. Because I love sci-fi. Like I eat sci-fi up for dinner and breakfast, brunch, whatever. You know, everything. And so to know that CD Projekt is doing is going to be doing a new IP that's set in the future has me hopeful. I just don't want what happened with No Man's Sky and then also Final Fantasy 15 to kind of like bite me in the butt, because like that's why I try to control myself sometimes around Kingdom Hearts 3 and stuff, because like I let the hype kind of make the expectations higher, and when they don't reach it, or when, you know, it could be a good game, but it's just like it wasn't what I thought they portrayed it as, it like isn't the same experience,
Right.
So, but I mean they've done a great job up until this point. They haven't really made a bad game at all, so
Definitely. So yeah, I mean, that's really all there is to that story. So I guess moving on to the next one, we have a brand new Overwatch character, Brigitte. She's the daughter of Torbjorn, and she's the squire of Reinhardt. She's like a bruiser support character, basically. Like,
do you have like her moveset up? Or
I don't have it pulled up on here, but I do. I know it is. So, being Reinhardt's squire, she takes a lot after from him. Kind of like how Reinhardt has his rocket hammer. She's got a rocket flail. I think it has a little bit of an extended reach than his hammer, but I don't think it does as much damage as his hammer. I'm not sure about that, to be completely. She also, like Reinhardt, has a barrier shield, but instead of it being a wide thing that covers like horizontally, it's a vertical one that covers just basically her and like anybody who can get behind her vertically. So,
She's also just smaller too.
Right, exactly. But the cool thing about her is that when she has her shield up, she also gains the ability to do a shield bash, where she can leap forward and damage and stun somebody.
Fun.
So she's got that going for her. She also has another ability with her flail where she can like throw it outward and hit, knock back, and stun other.
I have her moveset pulled up right now. She has Rocket Flare. Her melee weapon has an extended range, like you were saying. Repair Pack. She throws a repair pack down that can heal allies. Allies' maximum health, provides them with armor instead. She has a Whip Shot. Throws her flail at a long distance, dealing damage and knocking enemy away from her. She has a Barrier Shield. Deploys a frontal shield barrier to absorb a limited amount of damage, kind of like Reinhardt. I'm assuming. She has a shield bash. Once her barrier shield is deployed, she can dash forward to stun an enemy. Inspire, when she hits enemies with her flail, she also heals nearby allies over time.
And that sounds like a passive ability.
Yeah.
And then Rally
Which
moves
is her
faster
ult.
and provides all nearby allies with armor and lasts until it's removed by damage.
Oh wow.
So it seems like she's classified as a support character, but she doubles basically as a secondary kind of like bruiser tank.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like very tanky healing. Like that's a healer.
Sounds
tank
like a
I've
character
heard.
I'm gonna play.
Sounds like a lot of fun. She's available to play on the PTR right now if you play Overwatch on PC. I heard she's like stupid broken though.
Oh,
like,
duh, when you have a mixture
sounds
between
like it.
when you have a mixture between Torbjorn's. First of all, her healing, her little rocket pack is already stupid because I'm going to give you health. And then on top of that, if you're already at max, I can give you armor. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Then you have a shield that you can stun people with if you feel like it. You can throw your shit just because you feel like
You
it.
can boop someone like Lucio.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can boop someone like Lucio, and then you're also just like, wow, all my friends are like doing real good. Let's just give them a shit ton of armor that doesn't go away after a time. It goes away after damage is done, right?
And then once you're damaging people, you can you heal your allies.
Yeah, yeah.
like that's so much at
It's gonna
one
be
time.
a game changer.
Yeah, and I feel like
I wonder like her negatives must be that she has to be
She
like
has to be
squishy.
slow.
She's got to be slow and squishy as hell. Like those are the only like way that I can-
appropriate ways to deal with
Yeah, like she's got to be able to like die super easily. Like
that. Watch her just be like, "Ha, you thought I could die?"
Did you already
Joke's
tell
on
her?
you.
Did you already tell us what her like role was? Does she support?
she's a support. She's classified as a support, but she's built as a support kind of tank hybrid.
Kind of like Orisa in a way.
A little
Yeah.
bit, yeah. So I'm excited to play her once my internet comes back on.
I'm to watch people play her.
Yeah.
I want to go on the PTR and go and search up like, hey, PTR, blah 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 blah, Bridget or Bridget or however you say it.
Brigitte,
Brigette.
I think it is.
Excuse me, I like the name Bridget.
But yeah, I'm excited to check that out. So, moving on to the next story, a little bit of details about the Battlefield game that's coming out this year have been. I don't know if they've been leaked or they're rumored or what. It looks like the game is going to be called Battlefield V because it's like Battlefield 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's going to be set in World War II.
Hell yeah, boy.
Going back to World War II.
What is everyone like going back to World War II?
Do you think
That's what I said earlier when I found out about it. I was like, why World War II again?
Everybody's
Explain
sick
this.
of
Okay,
jetpacks.
maybe people who play these games can explain why. Okay, why is there a sudden change? And maybe you can relate to this as well. As like why both Battlefield and Call of Duty, who have been like the two big mainstays and first-person shooters, have both decided to go back to World War II instead of going towards. Because the last one of Call of Duty I played was Advanced Warfare or whatever, the future one, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
so? I think Battlefield is kind of different from Call of Duty, and in that with Call of Duty, the reason why they went back to World War II this year with Call of Duty World War II, bad name, come up with a different name.
Lazy.
The reason why they went back to World War II is they got a lot of negative feedback with like how sci-fi the series had gotten because
Yeah.
Okay.
Call of Duty Infinite Warfare was like you were fighting people in space.
Okay.
Like going to other planets in the solar system, like fighting robots, like not fight. No, it didn't feel like a Call of Duty game at that point. It felt
Right.
like a sci-fi shooter, which is fine for some people. Like I actually really enjoyed Call of Duty Infinite Warfare's like story mode. It was really surprisingly well written. Like, but I didn't play the multiplayer at all. But it's just one of those things. Where it's like, when you play a Call of Duty game, especially if you've been playing the Modern Warfare games for a long time, that's not necessarily what you're going into the series for.
Right.
So that's kind of why Call of Duty went back. Battlefield went to World War One completely out of nowhere. I felt like
Or I
because
guess like World War One. Excuse me.
they went with World War One. I mean, what was the game before that? They did Hardline. Okay, so Hardline was the last
Which
one.
was like
Cops
Cops and Robbers.
Cops and Robbers in
Cops
modern
and Robbers
day.
thing, which was actually a lot of fun.
And then
I
before
enjoyed
that
it.
was Battlefield 4, which was very much modern day.
Mhm.
So I think Battlefield had kind of set this trend of going back because when Battlefield 1 got announced, it was really, really well received. Like the trailer, like it was, even though it was a really weird, like trailer was really beautiful to look at, but they had this really weird like dubstep version of Seven Nation Army playing in the background.
Why is dubstep the go-to soundtrack for all first-person shooter trailers?
Gamers like it.
Yeah, my 7-Up is bubbling at the sound of dubstep. Doritos.
No, didn't they do that for the I forgot what movie it
They
was.
do that all the time, and then I love how anytime they ever have like any like famous like players, they'll always be like, "Yeah, man, I can't play my League of Legends and Dota 2 and my whatever without my Doritos and 7-Up,
Or Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew, whatever." My little green
What is it called
drink
now?
that tastes.
Mountain Dew Ice.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Frost or whatever.
Frost.
Ice, yeah, no, I think it's
That's
ice,
what
yeah.
it is.
But yeah, so I guess to answer your question, Battlefield is kind of being independent, and was being independent when they went back to World War One because they were like, "Fuck it, we're doing this," and they got a lot of really.
There's not really any other World War One games that are on the level Battlefield is on, and I've been a long-term fan of both series. Bringing it back to World War II for both Call of Duty and Battlefield, it's kind of bringing it back to their roots, because the original Call of Duty is on it's World War II, kind of like how Medal of Honor started as well. And that's kind of where its fan base was, but it just kept progressing and progressing and progressing in time. And it just, Call of Duty lost its touch, and I think with it losing its fan base it once had, they're trying to get that fan base back because that's what everyone wanted.
Right.
Battlefield, on the other hand, they're two different styles of games. Like Battlefield is supposed to be a massive battle,
Right.
like the whole time, and like the original game started off in World War II, and then they brought in like the Vietnam War, Korean War. I could be wrong about that. Then they brought it into like Desert Storm, more modern day stuff, and then I guess they're just bringing it back to World War One, which is new for like that genre in general. And then bringing in those mechanics they had for Battlefield 1, which is a fun shooter, bringing that to World War II, I think is really setting a new standard for games and giving, like, those who grew up playing the original Battlefield games, like, a new take on it, on these new systems, new engines that are gonna be incredible.
I just think it's so interesting that we have so many games that are based around that era, right? Like World War II as well, as
There's
because
so much history there.
Oh, no, there
so
is.
much you can do.
and the thing is, like, because we've had Wolfenstein handle the idea of World War II where we lose.
Yeah.
We've had Call of Duty. We've had Battlefield now. We've had numerous.
There's like Sniper Elite.
Sniper Elite handles World War II.
The only thing you learn about in history class is World War II.
So, and I
Medal
just
of
think,
Honor.
and do you
That's
think?
Oh yeah, Medal of Honor.
Yeah,
Medal of Honor.
We haven't had a Medal of Honor.
Medal of Honor.
Those
Yeah.
are my favorite.
Medal
They
of
kind
Honor
of
was
fell
so
out
good.
once like the more modern one came
Yeah.
out.
I think I have
Do you-
that on my-
I actually found Medal of Honor Rising Sun at Goodwill the other day.
Rising Sun is so good.
Yeah, there was Rising Sun and then there's Frontline.
Frontline's really
They're
good too.
both for World War II, but they're in different
Areas.
sections. Like Rising Sun is the campaign in the Pacific. You
Mhm.
start off on Pearl Harbor, like you're in a boat. Well, you're in a ship as a Marine getting bombed,
It's super.
and then for
super
Frontline, you storm the beaches of Normandy
Yep, it's super cool.
in the very beginning. It's so much fun.
And do you think the reason why they're so scared, besides like their initial fan base for, okay, do you think maybe another reason too for them not maybe wanting to go that far into the future is not only their fan base, but do you think too that there are other shooters that compete with them in that aspect? Like when you have games like Crisis, and you have games like
I think Halo.
Halo,
comes
you
to
have
mind.
things like the one with the giant mechs I cannot remember for the life of me.
Titanfall.
Titanfall. Yeah, you have games like Titanfall.
Titanfall isn't really competitor.
Well,
in
not
that.
like competing with them, but when you have games that have handled sci-fi or Killzone, when you have Killzone,
Yeah,
you know,
it kind of all blends into the same thing.
right? I was just
at
gonna
some point.
I was just gonna say, do you think maybe because they're also like we've seen other games do this better, so let's just go back to what we know how to do,
Yeah.
which is wars and like very current or past wars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think that like the power of fan bases and social media is really important when you look at this.
I would agree with
like
him.
like okay, so I've got it pulled up, the reveal trailer for Call of Duty Infinite Warfare when it came out. So just looking at the simple like to dislike ratio on the video, it has 586,000 likes, which sounds about good for your average like popular YouTube video, but it's got over 3 million dislikes.
Like, it's not a bad game, but it's not what Call of Duty fans wanted.
Right.
I think Call of Duty fans more wanted the stuff of, like, Black Ops, like the first one, that channeled, like, the Vietnam conflicts. And there's so much you can do with that era, and even with the Korean War.
Right.
There's not a whole lot in that area. If they wanted to delve in a little bit more into the past, like the Gulf War.
Right. I was gonna say too. Do you think eventually they're gonna hit a point? Because obviously they don't have any idea of any time soon of stopping making these. Do you think that there's gonna reach a point where they like run out of wars to kind of embody in games?
I think consumers will stop buying their products before that happens, because they'll
Probably.
figure something out.
Right.
They'll make a spin-off. I feel like okay, if Infinity Ward comes out of ideas, they'll like alongside with the Modern Warfare 2 remaster. If they do that, they may do like a side game with Ghost, like one of their like more popular characters, or one of like they can make a new story out of it, and then like. Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 1, it didn't necessarily have anything that was related to what's going on now. It was just modern conflicts with like not necessarily in like fake countries, but like fake leaders in a dystopian society. Or with Modern Warfare 2, you have like the corrupt general that like, basically screws you over. And
Shepard.
yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting though, because I feel like people purchase Call of Duty yearly in the same way that people purchase Madden yearly. They're just like the new Call of Duty game being launched is still a huge event. Like no matter what, a new Call of Duty game is coming out every year. It's going to be like, okay, I'm getting this game because it's the new Call of Duty. I'm gonna I don't think there are a lot of people like the majority of the fan base of Call of Duty who I think are a little bit more like us are like, well, I like the Call of Duty games that come out of this studio. I don't like the ones that come out of this studio, so I'm just gonna wait and get the new Call of Duty like every 3 years or so.
Right.
But I mean, like looking at like the
acceptable way to do it.
Looking at it the past like 3 years though, because like so the way Call of Duty games are being made is they're in a 3-year development cycle at this point, because so Activision is the publisher for the game, but they have 3 different studios that make Call of Duty games, and they just alternate from year to year who is putting out their Call of Duty game. So one year it'll be Infinity Ward, and that's where your Modern Warfare's, your Call of Duty Ghost, your Infinite Warfare.
Anything that has warfare next to it.
Yeah, pretty much.
And they started the Call of Duty series.
They're the ones that put out those games. Then you'll have a year where it is Treyarch, and those are sorry.
They brought zombies.
Man, I fucking hate zombies.
Somebody feels strong.
Which they are the ones that are responsible for my personal favorite Call of Duty Black Ops, the original,
and World at War. Another classic.
So they come the year after that.
Remaster.
And then after that, it is Sledgehammer Games, which they've only been on this for 2 cycles now, and they were the ones that did Advanced Warfare, and they did Advanced Warfare was their first one, and then they most recently did World War II. That was their but like thinking about like these past 3 entries in Call of Duty, World War II, Infinite Warfare, and Black Ops 3.
Yeah.
That trifecta of games is not very good. Like they're not amazing, but they're not like they're not bad, but they're not as good of quality as people are used to with the quality of Call of Duty games coming out. So I think honestly, that Activision could benefit from doing something that Ubisoft did, where they took a year off from their Assassin's Creed series, and then they put out Origins this past year, and people loved that game. I was like, this is the best Assassin's Creed that we've had in years, and all it took was taking a year off to like kind of like go back to the drawing board and just being like, okay, let's change some things up and with the formula of how they do this. Now, I don't think that Activision will do this because Call of Duty is such a huge cash cow for them.
Yeah.
It's probably their biggest franchise.
Because people are going to keep buying it.
Exactly. And
until it goes to shit.
Yeah, it's this
More-
year's
more
Call of
shit.
Duty.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
It's more accurate.
Yeah, and I mean, and the thing is too is that like and I think that's also a symptom of them having 3 different studios working on the same IP, even if it is,
They get like a 2-3 year development time.
yeah. And the thing is like it'd be different if like they worked in conjunction with each other, but all 3 of them have created such different games, right?
And they're not all in the same
And they're not
universe
all
either.
the same quality. They're not all in the same timeline, sphere of things. Mechanical wise, they're all different. So I think that, like, I don't know. I just feel like it's just kind of not a good system to have, right? Because Battlefield is made by the same studio, correct?
It's by DICE.
It's by DICE, and it's made by DICE every single time.
I think they might have had 1 or 2 exceptions to that.
Hardline.
Like Hardline, I know was done by Visceral Games.
Yeah,
It wasn't done by
with-
DICE.
with-
Which Hardline was not very well received.
Yeah, you can tell. The thing is, though, is that you can
Hardline
tell.
was fun for what it was worth.
No,
It's just not on the same level as
Yeah,
like
but
4 was.
But you can
or
tell the
1 is.
quality, right? Like, you know the quality when DICE makes a game,
Was
right?
that like a full blown game in and of itself? Battlefield Hardline.
Yeah,
It has a story mode. It has
Yeah.
multiplayer with the season pass. It has DLCs.
That
It's-
doesn't sound like it should be, a standalone.
I
game.
feel like it was probably one of those cases that they had that idea as an EA game and they were doing it in test markets and like, people don't like the name Hardline, or this doesn't seem like it's doing that well. What if we slap the Battlefield name on it? Let's see how that does. And obviously, it would sell more if it has the name Battlefield associated with it.
And I mean, it's not like there's only been a few. Like, I feel like it would have done better if it was just like a DLC mode or something, because we've seen before where like complete changes of the formula have been really well. Like, my biggest example is if you go back to Far Cry 3, I think, and they had Far Cry Blood Dragon, which is easily.
Blood Dragon is such a good game.
Yeah,
It is.
And Blood Dragon is easily. First of all, you can play it by itself. Like, you don't need Far Cry 3.
I played Blood Dragon before I played 3.
Yeah, like it's super good. It's very self-aware. It's very like making fun of the video game formula. It's super fun. You can rip dudes' hearts out and stuff. It's like the Doom before Doom in that way of like it's very visceral. It's very like kind of funny. It makes fun of itself in a way. But like we've seen that like DLCs that kind of mix up that formula of like how a game should be can work, but not as a standalone, because the fans aren't all going to support it because it isn't the game, right? They're mixing it up. So I feel like they could have done better with that if it was a DLC. But, I was just wondering because, like, again, I don't know. Like I said, I eat up sci-fi and, like, I'm not a big history buff. If you can make history interesting for me in that way and you can make these, like, if you can make a period game fun to me, I feel like you've done your job. I feel like you've done your job. You've done what you needed to do. But like you have to get me initially interested, because I'm not initially interested in I'm gonna go and shoot Germans, right? Or shoot Nazis, right? Because like that's how Wolfenstein pulled me in, is because it's like, oh, it's an alternate timeline of the World War II era.
Also, hella tech.
Also hella tech, to be fair. But you know what I mean. So like I don't know. Again, I'm not obviously the demographic, because I feel like they target much younger audiences nowadays, even though we still have politicians who are like, video games cause violence in kids, and it doesn't. It doesn't at all. It has been proven scientifically by multiple studies. As a psych major, I know this guy. I've had to argue with idiot people in classes about it.
See our conversation about that from last week's episode of the
yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
That was a fun topic.
Yeah, I wish I could have been there, but it's so frustrating because like they target kids, even though they make M-rated games. That they are like inherently knowing that younger kids are playing the game itself, right? And they kind of market it to it. So but whatever. That's my spiel. So yeah,
Battlefield V. Look out for it, I guess. We'll bring back some details, some more
Battlefield 5.
details that we know about it.
Roman numerals.
Roman numeral.
I have a feeling that they'll probably go for the angle of Battlefield V for victory or 5.
Oh, that's
Oh, like how the
Ugh.
Phantom
Five.
Pain is?
Yes.
It's Metal Gear Solid V.
No,
can,
Metal Gear
can
Solid
we just talk
5.
about how Dragon Ball Z Fighters? I thought it was supposed to be Dragon Ball Z Fighters Z. Like, the creators are like, you say it, Dragon Ball Fighters.
They put
I'm
out
like,
a
that's
tweet
stupid.
about that, like specifically, like
Fighters.
it's Dragon Ball Fighters, not Dragon Ball Fighter Z, not Dragon Ball Fighter Z, not Dragon Ball Fighters. They specifically put Z.
It's Dragon Ball Fighters. I'm like, that.
I'm like,
I was like,
come on.
I was like,
Then
you
why'd
can
you
do better.
capitalize
Then
it?
why'd you capitalize it? You literally made it seem like.
You know, it's Dragon Ball Z.
We
But
got it.
But that also means
Promise
is
we
Dragon
got
Ball
it.
Z supposed to be Dragon Balls?
I think they were just
Ew.
trying to be clever and
Dragon
it's just not as
Balls.
well received.
Dragon Tales. Ooh. Ruin your childhood.
It's already ruined. All right, so moving on to our last news story. The ESRB is going to begin including in-game purchases label on game boxes. So the ESRB put out a press statement earlier this week. I'm just going to read this statement so that way we can discuss all of it. This is our big topic for the week. Ugh. So this is the press statement from the ESRB. You may have noticed that we've been a little quiet on the topic of in-game purchases and loot boxes, but we've been listening. In fact, we've absorbed every tweet, email, Facebook post, and singing telegram sent our way, and we've been working to develop a
Probably
sensible
actually got
approach
one.
to let gamers and parents know when a game offers the option to purchase additional content. Starting soon, ESRB will begin assigning a brand new label to physical games, in-game purchases. This label, or as we call it, interactive element, will appear on boxes and where those games can be downloaded for all games that offer the ability to purchase digital goods of premiums with real-world currency. This includes features like bonus levels, skins, surprise items such as item packs, loot boxes, mystery awards, music, virtual coins, and other forms of in-game currency, subscriptions, season passes, upgrades, what their example is to disable ads, and more. We're also launching a new website, parentaltools.org, to help raise awareness of the helpful tools that parents can use to manage the amount of time or money those crafty kids spend playing games. This is the first step of many. We'll continue to discuss how to further enhance our rating system with publishers, developers, gamers, and especially parents. And we'll continue to make adjustments as the need arises. Thank you for all your patience on this and your love for the games we rate. So first thing I want to say about this, who is the snarky ass intern that fucking wrote this press statement?
I was literally about to say he sounds.
I've seen everything.
Oh.
I love the thing is this is totally one of those moments where it's like we have to do this now, but we also think it's ridiculous that we have to.
So my problem with it is, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Austin, but
you're good.
My problem with this is that it's an attempt to solve the problem, but in fact it just doesn't do anything, because basically, so it's not like this label is just going to be on games that have loot boxes or like mystery box like systems. It's going to be on any game that you can buy something in game with real money. So that includes DLC and season passes. That includes anything that you would have to purchase, like even to like upgrade from a free version of a game to a premium version of a game would need this label on it. Right. So in the world that we live in 2018, like this label is going to be on every single box.
Also,
that's not necessarily a problem. I mean, okay, Apple did this not too long ago on the App Store. If there are in-game purchases, it
requires them to like say so.
Yeah, it requires for them to say so. That's so you can look at a game and know whether or not there are in-game purchases or not, rather than playing the game, realizing there are multiple extensions to it, and you can't even play the full game. Like, I feel like it's the best thing that they can do. It just makes it a little bit easier so we can understand what games you need to purchase and what not.
My issue comes from the fact that they said the like physical boxes, correct?
They also said that and where those games can be downloaded as well. So it'll show up on like people's Steam pages.
It's just my issue comes from the fact that like I feel like that again, if we're talking from a parent's perspective, that doesn't mean anything. Like, it again doesn't explain to parents, which again the ESRB was started because it was for parents' understanding of how these games were and what was inside. When you look on the back, it doesn't just say M, right? It says M, and it says there's nudity, blood, gore, like drug and smoking references and snarky remarks or whatever the fuck else it says. Well, I don't read those.
Blood, gore, and snarky remarks.
Yeah, I don't read that. I don't read that shit anymore because I don't have to. But like, you know, like it doesn't. I feel like just having in-game purchases, unless you explain what that is, or your kid, or like the kid of the parent explains after the parent is like, "Huh, dear Bobby, like what does in-game purchases mean on this box? I'm already buying this for you, so what does that mean?" And the kid's like, "Yo, I can buy a Star Fox 64 skin for my fucking version of Bayonetta on Super Smash Brothers, whatever, you know, like for $2.
My parents would have acted a different way, and it's like, oh, I have to spend more on this? No, you're not getting this.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and the thing is too is that we have this to me, this perpetuates the acceptance of, for some reason, letting companies able to give us $60 full price games, and then also being like, but you also still don't get everything, even though you actually bought the full price for this game. So fuck you.
It just makes you more aware of it, so you can make better conscious decisions.
But when every game, but the thing is though, is that the ESRB is showing that they are okay with it. And they are okay with this type of system happening, though.
It's just a rating system. Like,
I know,
they're
but
just trying to make everyone informed.
But again, if they informed and was like, if they said like warning or something, if it was something that is like, hey, because the thing is, to me, having in-game like loot boxes and stuff like, while inherently are not bad, but they are. They create this like pernicious system of where people who, even if it's someone who knows going in that you have to buy you're buying the $60 game, you have to pay more to get the full experience of the game. And to me, that's not right. Right.
I feel like this opens up another can of worms about like talking about game prices going up to like, what is it, $80, $70 now?
I don't know. I did a video a while back about this topic. About
I wasn't yelling at you.
No, it's fine. You're passionate about the topic. You don't want the ratings to change.
So I mean, I did a video about the topic of loot boxes, especially after the fallout that was Battlefront 2, because obviously this is what this is all in reference to at this point,
yeah.
And we're going to be feeling the effects of Battlefront 2 on the gaming industry for the next several years. I firmly
it's going to be a
that.
pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So and the video that I did about this, I kind of talked about the fact that the price of games to purchase them has not gone up in years.
I remember buying like N64 games and like even Super Nintendo games for like $50 or $60.
Exactly. Yeah. Like the price of games has not gone up in years. The cost of like making a disc has gone down. However, the actual cost of development has gone up so much. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, this game costs $60, which feels like a whole lot for a full size game, but they're probably like, they got to make a living. Obviously, that's not a living, and excessive living and paying their CEOs a whole bunch of money is completely different, like, situation that we're talking about.
Right.
I guess my problem, the problem that I see with this is, with this specific thing that we're talking about with the ESRB today, is that this does not solve, I think, what the problem is. I think because this ends up just being like you're going to be putting a blanket label on basically everything.
Yeah.
At this point, that sucks because that there is in-game purchases in literally everything we do at this point. But I don't think that this specific thing helps with the problem that we're talking about. That is the focus of like what happened with Battlefront 2. And in Battlefront 2, I felt like something that could have been fixed and maybe mitigated the problem would have been if they displayed what the drop rates of things were on the actual loot crates themselves. Like, in China, it's actually law for game developers that they have to disclose what the drop rates are of loot boxes and mystery boxes. And I don't think that's a bad thing to to disclose. I think it could definitely. It's not going to keep everybody from basically being these white whales that you hear about with loot boxes, who are the people who spend thousands and thousands of dollars on loot boxes every month or so. It's not going to stop those white whales because it's the way loot boxes. There's a science behind how loot boxes are made, like the animation that goes into it, and the aesthetic of what they look like, the animation that goes with it, how things come out, the sound that's made. There's a science behind it, and it kind of all comes from the actual science of the same way that people make slot machines and other gambling things at casinos, so because they want you to spend your money and they want you to get that same rush that you get from winning something in
it's I got this cool thing.
Exactly. So it's praying.
I got pink Darth Vader. Oh my god.
So it's praying it. So the way that loot boxes work is that in a way it's the same science behind the predatory nature of gambling machines. So there's I feel like that is the big question at this point is what can they do to help so that way they don't have so many especially kids falling in and spending but like Austin said, I don't think that there is much that they can do at this point. I think the game industry itself really needs to basically regulate itself, which the game industry does a great job of regulating itself. The fans are good and strong at being able to be
we're not gonna buy this game.
We're not going to buy this game. You can even look at what the sales ended up being for Battlefront 2, and you can tell it was garbage compared to what they were even expected to do, and in comparison to the first game, even though in all technicality it was a better game than the first one. Those loot boxes fucking killed it. So I think this is really all that the ESRB can do, and I think it is a way for them to save face and be whoa, okay, we don't need, because there's been lots of government officials that have been trying to put some sort of have been trying to put bills in place to regulate games and loot boxes, trying to control what.
And it's not the government's job to do that. It's the ESRB.
Exactly.
But the thing is, though, if we're gonna sit here and just say they're just a rating system, then that that degrades their point, their importance in this industry, because that's what they grade games, right? They are their games have to go through this system, right? And they get graded. And yes, they can't control what developers do and they can't control what consumers do, but they can control what information is available to the consumer, readily available on a box. Right. And I think, or on a website, or on a Steam page. And I think that is so important, because just saying, oh, this has this, that doesn't help. Saying, oh, it has in-app purchases or in-game purchases. That doesn't, to me, that is literally just a band-aid over a very deep cut that needs to be fully addressed.
Yeah. Right.
I don't think the RB is someone to address that, though.
Okay.
I think in-game purchases don't make the game unsuitable for audiences.
Right. Well, I was going to say too. Then if you don't think they're supposed to, then who is?
I think it's the job of the actual companies themselves to regulate themselves.
But that's not. But the thing is, you and I both, all of us know that is not going to happen, because companies, at their heart and core, want money. Now, maybe the individual developers and directors of certain games and certain game companies and may not want that to be what it is, but at the end of the day, like you said, they have to make a living and they have to pay people. And at the end of the day, here's
a simple solution: don't buy games that offer season passes or in-game solutions. There are plenty of games on the market that you can just buy face value.
Right.
They're not AAA titles or anything. But if you stop supporting those games, it won't become a system that works.
Yeah, I think it's something that's hard to kind of decide what is and isn't okay, and I think everybody is going to have their own version of what is and is not okay for companies to do. I actually am one for the movement of let's increase the price of how much games cost.
Yeah,
AAA games I think need to go up in price from $60 to $70 or $80. I think that's not ideal. I don't think,
right.
But if it will mitigate it so that way we don't have to worry about these loot boxes and in-game purchases, I'm for it. I think that is less egregious than expecting me to buy a $60 game and then come in and be like, what the fuck, I have to play for 40 hours if I want to play as Darth Vader? Fuck that. Like,
or like I've thought about this idea too, is that like do something similar to, okay, so like in concept, the way that paid MMOs work is that you pay for the time that you want to play with the game, correct? Mm-hmm. So like what if is that like, and this is so against like what I personally would really want, but I'm asking as like a hypothetical situation, make games cheap, make games like inherently like on the box value cheap, but then like, and make that just like the base story mode, or make that like a base mode of the game itself. But when you buy games that are like maybe have like a multiplayer component, or maybe have like a LAN component, or have other different components inside of that game, add value to that, so that way the people can only pay for what they want to play, right? And so hypothetically, hypothetically
this is cringy just kind of thinking about it.
I know.
I don't like that system.
I know. I don't either.
Sounds like a budgeting nightmare.
Yeah. But but the thing is though is that like, we either do that, we either keep the system we have, we chop up games to where you pay for whole parts of games after you've already bought the disc itself, and it's like on the disc, you just can't get to it, or we raise the initial price of games so everyone can get paid the amount that they need to get paid, to where loot boxes don't need to exist, and then they exist out of the perniciousness of a company. Yeah.
I also think it's very weird to think about, like interesting to think about. Remember when season passes became very super, like, when they first became a thing and people were very against them, like, why am I going to pay you up front for DLC that I don't even know what it's going to be? And that was a huge thing. And then eventually we got over it. Season passes are commonplace now. Yeah. And I think most people are just okay with them.
Well, yeah, because people want the full game.
Exactly. I think, like, I don't have a problem with season passes. I don't think I've ever had a problem with season passes if they're moderately priced. Yeah. Like when Battlefront 1 came out, their season pass was $50. So they're like, you want me to pay $60 for your game and then $50 for your season pass, and it's a multiplayer. Like, it's a
110. My math.
$110 for a multiplayer only game.
Major.
I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to pay $110 for a multiplayer only game to get the full experience. That's garbage.
I would much rather just them raise the price of the base game in general, just so we can get all the content in a game
at one time.
Like I miss like the PS2 generation, to where like online wasn't the focus of gaming, and you got the full game when you opened the box. Like,
right.
Like unlocking content through progression in the game is the superior way to game.
Well, I was going to say too, do you think too is that, like, getting this idea, do you think maybe we should be able, like, like it's commonplace to think that games are in the like pressure cooker for the most part, average like 3 to 4 years, 3 to 5 maybe. Yeah. Do you think maybe we should be able to give them, like, it should be commonplace to give them more time? So like everything that they have that's as like a DLC thought, they can immediately, they can work on that, put that in, and then raise the base price of that game. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like,
if they're gonna bring in free DLC, that's fine by me. Like,
right?
It's, I don't know. I hate the fact that I have to pay more for a game that I've already paid for
in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, you had to get the physical disc, and the thing is, it's like that stuff is most likely already on the disc. Yeah. Like a lot, like there have been multiple instances where the DLC is on the physical copy of the disc that you have, and it's just blocked off by a paywall that you have to pay. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I think Destiny is a good example of
that. Exactly. And I was going to ask Jackie, as someone who doesn't play games a lot and who's kind of new to all of this, like, what is your take on this idea? Like, on as a whole.
On what? On
like loot boxes and
loot
kind of
boxes?
like.
And
I mean,
price
I think
of games and.
I think if you want it to stay where it's at, like, you kind of have to like give a little bit. Loot boxes are not like terrible, as long as they don't hinder like the game itself. Like, if you can't succeed in the game without a loot box, then why are you playing it?
Right.
Type of thing.
Exactly.
So like skins or something, like, it's fine.
Like Overwatch.
Overwatch's loot box system is completely cosmetic. Like they do, that's a good system, I think.
Right. And the thing is, even if you don't get those rare skins, they give you a way to like get the currency. When you get extras of things, you get currency that you can be like, oh, I can go buy them now. You know. So I don't know. It scares me too because like companies are going to try to get away with being like a Battlefront 2 kind of thing where it's like you can pay for it. And I feel like a lot of this kind of goes all the way back to like, because this is like the straw that broke the camel's back. 'Cause if you go all the way back to like the CS:GO gambling scandal, right? Like
gosh.
I feel like that was kind of the first time, like not the first time, but definitely a big enough moment where everyone took notice of like the gaming industry in regards to like kids dealing with these types of real life money currency things, right?
Definitely.
And I feel like that's just kind of continued growing in a spotlight for us, and I feel like this puts all of us in a negative light,
Money is the root of all evil.
Right.
I really like, even though it sounds weird to kind of put your faith like that I like to look with the actual game industry and like the companies themselves, like think about the giant PR nightmare that Battlefront 2 has been. It has been a fiasco from day one. I think games that are coming out from here on, like within the next few years or so, I don't think they're gonna come with the same approach that Battlefront 2 is. Even if like they're like still with this kind of leniency that the ESRB is kind of giving in this moment, I don't think we see people like companies going with that same approach because like that was a fucking PR nightmare. The fact that they're having like countries like business bureaus basically investigating to see if this was actually constituting as illegal gambling.
Yeah.
Like fucking EA, like their stock was going down. Like they lost a lot of money on that whole thing. So I think that people are like game companies are going to approach it differently. I don't see this necessarily like changing anytime soon, or like the actual like way loot boxes are handled changing anytime soon, which sucks because nobody really likes loot boxes. And like you said, like it'd be great if everything came shipped, even though it like all at once.
Like I think it's much more satisfying like unlocking a certain skin or like weapon through unlocking challenges through the game.
Yeah, like when you play Hyrule Warriors, right? Like the Dynasty Warriors, Legend of Zelda clone, or not clone, like mixture melting pot thing, where like they have that whole like adventure system where like you fill up this map and you can unlock skins, you can unlock like different weapons for characters, and that's through you like participating in different ways of playing the game, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is so much more authentic, and I feel like it enriches the experience.
Exactly.
Right? Like, I don't know, like, or even like if you go back to like Call of Duty, where like you'd have to get to a certain rank to unlock a certain weapon, or even like they do that now.
Yeah, and you have to play with that weapon to get the attachments.
Yeah,
and
like,
you have to be skilled with the weapon to get the camos.
Yeah, so I mean, like we've seen progression systems of getting cosmetic items done better in the past. Does it make them more money? Not at all. But it does give them the loyalty of fans and gives you the enrichment of fans, right? And I just think they're kind of prioritizing pockets over fans.
Yeah, it's not about like the gamer as much anymore. It's about how much the company can make. Like Bungie in its like original state was a great company because they were centered around the gamer.
Right.
They created one of the most iconic shooters of all time. Halo is amazing, and that is like a full-fledged game, like full of detail, not necessarily like unlockable, customizable things, but they brought that with like Halo 2.
Right.
Well, Halo 2 a little bit, especially in Halo 3.
Right.
Halo 3 was like a game changer for that.
Oh yeah, but Halo 5 lost that. Like think about how like Halo 5 and like has awful microtransactions in them. It's garbage. Like I did not like. I didn't finish Halo 5.
Neither did I. I sold it.
Like
How the hell are you gonna have squad-based story and not have co-op campaign? That boggles my fucking mind.
Yeah.
Because I remember playing Halo 3 like 4-player co-op.
Halo 3 is such a fucking good game.
Yes.
I just really miss just couch co-op.
Yeah,
I just
same.
miss couch co like I appreciate games, like a lot of indie games that are multiplayer based have a lot of couch co-op. Like if you play Towerfall, or if you play
Towerfall's so much fun.
Towerfall's so good. Or if you play like oh god, there's like this cooking one that I've played on like the Switch before that's like where you have to run in.
Overcooked.
Yeah, Overcooked and stuff, like where you can play stuff like that. Or I miss games where you could just, where they were just like, you know, like the only thing I see nowadays that you can do couch co-op besides these games that are AAA are like Injustice or like Mortal Kombat. And even then,
That's a certain demographic.
But yeah, see, that's the thing. Even certain demographics,
niche.
you rarely can play like adventure games that, unless that's part of the main mechanic, you can't play couch co-op. And it just frustrates
And it's
me.
all online now, which it really sucks because like
Not everybody has internet, and not everybody wants to pay gold, wants to do like an Xbox subscription or pay PlayStation Plus to do that.
there's so much money in gaming now.
And I'm like, girl, gamers aren't rich. Like, gamers are not rich people, you know? And I understand they need to make money from us.
There's
But,
a point
like-
where you can be making too much money
Yeah, you know, so.
and you're just cash grabbing.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll keep an eye on this and just kind of let you know what continues to go on with loot boxes and gaming.
Fuckery that is
Yeah.
all of that.
We're going to take one more quick break before going into our rotating segment, and we'll be back in just a second.
Bye.
And we're back for the final segment, which of course is our weekly rotating segment. Like I said earlier in the show, if you want to email us and give us a suggestion for what you think the rotating segment is, we'll shout you out. Go on over to ydnerd.com/contact. Put your name, your email, and what your question is, and your question could be could be the rotating segment for YDN Cast that week. So just a little bit of way that we can start like interacting with everyone, and I think it'd be real cool. So the rotating segment question for this week is: if you could turn any movie into a video game, what would it be and why? Logan.
Okay, I'm like, ma'am, may I go? May I answer? No, I love this movie. I would love Pan's Labyrinth to be made.
That'd be a pretty good option.
Because I would love it to be like a surreal, like action thriller horror game, and you basically play as the one little girl going through all this crazy bullshit. And can you imagine if you did that in like VR and you see a thing with hands being like coming at you? Like,
that would freak me the fuck out.
Exactly. And so my choice is Pan's Labyrinth because I just think it's super surreal, it's super crazy, and I feel like it just is like, and especially in like a VR setting that most horror games are going towards now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that would be such a surreal experience that it'd be so fun to play. Now, mind you, would it make any sense? Probably not.
Probably not.
But most horror games don't make sense anyway, and I'm here for it.
Good one. Travis?
50 Shades of Grey.
Ooh,
I knew someone
the
was gonna.
porn
I
game.
knew someone was gonna go
me.
there.
The porn
I thought Jackie was gonna be the one to
Because
say.
I watched 50 Shades Freed like Tuesday.
Boo! Boo!
Why?
It's just porn on a
Okay.
screen.
Okay,
bad,
Travis,
it's
how
so
would the 50 Shades of
funny.
Grey game be played?
Tell us about your
Okay,
dating
opening
sim.
say 50 Shades of Grey, and then it pans over to like this sex dungeon,
Ooh.
The red ribbon.
and you just gotta like just paddles and like I don't know.
Is it like it's like a dating simulator? It's,
I guess so.
It's like a BDSM dating simulator.
Yeah.
I hate
I don't
that.
know.
I hate that a lot.
Same. I really do.
Like, well, I guess it would appeal to some audiences, but not this one.
God. Austin.
Oh, for me, I would probably put Ex Machina.
Yeah, that'd probably be a good one.
Like have it
A choose your own adventure.
kind of in a
Like
way,
a
but
Telltale
like
game.
similar like story progression and plot progression wise, but like as like maybe like a first person kind of game where you're actually experiencing it and going throughout the facility like interacting and talking with
That'd be cool.
What's his face?
the AI
Yeah.
and whatnot. And that'd be a good way for you to explore the facility, go through the computers
Try
itself.
to hack into it.
Yeah, try and hack into it and possibly find like a different ending.
So like Deus Ex, but without like the fighting part, just like the hacking part.
Yeah, kind of. I feel like it would be on like the same lines of like the Alien kind of game, but it's not to where like you're being stalked or whatever. Prey almost.
Prey,
without combat, really. I guess there is combat. Would it be?
I'm gonna fight the AI.
Well, like,
Could
have y'all seen the movie?
Yeah,
Yes.
I have not.
it's super
Do
good.
yourself a
Yes.
service.
Oh my God.
It's
I'm movie garbage.
You
Okay,
are.
it's only an
Can
hour and
confirm.
it's only an hour and a half
second
long,
that.
starring the guy who plays General Hux,
It's pretty
and it has
Dylan made me watch it.
what's his name?
Are you talking about main guy or the doctor guy?
The Doctor.
Uh,
He's Poe Dameron in the Oscar Isaac.
Oscar. Yeah.
Oscar Isaac, and it has General Hux from the new Star Wars. They're the main characters, and then the new Tomb Raider is the AI.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it's super. He basically wins like within the first 5 minutes with no conversation. They set it up.
He like unlocks a code, and he wins like some contest
Prize or something
to meet like the CEO of their version of Google.
Yeah, and then he's like, "I brought you here to see if you can distinguish between a real person and an AI." And then they introduce the girl, and then shit gets crazy.
Like she has a robot body but a human face.
And
I think I've seen like the trailers.
But
it's super
that
crazy.
movie
Pretty
it is a mind fuck.
And
But I think it could make a really fun game, kind of like how Firewatch was. Firewatch is probably one of my favorite games of recent.
yes.
So I think that would be a really cool adaptation.
Except instead of you thinking there's supernatural things and there's not, there is.
Fair enough.
I was gonna say there's actually this game. Oh god, I don't remember what it's called, but it's this game where you play as like a little like cleaner, like little cleaning bot. Oh, I don't remember what it's called. What
Like
am
a Roomba?
Yeah,
I know.
no.
Oh yeah, I know what you're
Yeah,
talking
it's like
about.
a Roomba thing. It's like a Roomba thing, and you play as it, and like you
I
are
love
basically
Roombas.
they're so cute. You play as like a little Roomba, and you're basically told by like the AI of the house to like do all these menial tasks, and you can either be like yes or no and stuff, and it's like a choose your own adventure. Then you learn like the
Like
horror.
the Stanley Parable.
Yeah, kinda.
That's another great
Make
game.
Ex Machina the like sci-fi kind of scary version of the Stanley Parable.
The Stanley Parable, you play as this guy named Stanley. There is a narrator for the game. You can either do what the narrator says or you cannot. There are dozens of endings to the game.
And sometimes
Alright.
half of them are like, let's break the game. One of them is get this. One of them is you are like moving on like that little like moving platform.
Oh yeah, and like you're going to this platform on the other side, but there's also a platform below you.
So you can just fall off.
And the narrator's like, "What? What are you doing?"
You
Like,
didn't. He's also like, you didn't die. It's great.
you have no regard for safety. You could have fallen.
It's please. It is.
It-
Jackie,
it's like-
you would eat.
Please play this.
Jackie, you would eat this shit up.
Next time I'll bring my laptop and you can play.
It's so good.
It only takes like 5 minutes to go through, 5 to 10 minutes to go through like one story.
It's so
It's
good.
great.
It's
Watch out for our new game series, Jackie Learns Games.
Jackie learns.
It's not like I've played zero. Like,
I know, but
It's
like,
like-
it's
just
like
played different games than y'all.
She's
do.
played Nintendogs.
Okay, no, I didn't.
Nintendogs.
I did not get Nintendogs until like this year. Like I can't say anything.
So she's only played Nintendogs.
That is not true.
Have you played the weenie ones? The weenie
That's the one I
Nintendogs?
got.
Yes! The weenie dog.
Jackie, what movie would you turn into a video game?
Get Out would be cool.
Ooh.
That'd be real good.
That'd
Like
be
a nice
real
like
cool.
psychological thriller.
Yeah.
Like ooh,
That'd be neat.
I'm
that'd be
here for it.
hella neat.
I'm here for it. 100%.
I can't. I think that any Quentin Tarantino movie would make a really good
True.
video game. I thought, like, can you imagine Kill Bill like in the style of like an Afro samurai? Like,
I would play the fuck out of that.
that would be like super fucking cool.
I'd be so into that.
like and Inglorious Bastards. Like like
We're in the Nazi killing
Yeah.
business.
we're doing one thing and one thing only.
Guys, wait. Pacific Rim.
Pacific. That was another
That'd
one
be
that I
cool.
thought of. That'd
Pacific
be
Rim would be super cool.
Pacific Rim, but it's a
Versus
VR. It's a
Godzilla.
VR game. So okay.
So you're, like,
so
in
hear
the
me out
robot,
on this
like-
one. Hear me out on this
God,
one.
okay.
Pacific Rim, but it's a VR game. You have to sync up your movements with your VR partner to control the Jaeger.
That would be cool.
Like that would be so fucking cool. Like
They,
you'd be like,
and they could do it too. Like they've had old games, like the old Godzilla games, where they'd be like, "We're all the monster, we're all gonna fight." I'm like, just do that, but like VR,
yeah.
and with giant robots and monsters.
I would
See,
play the hell out of
I would.
The whole
But
appeal to that movie to me was the one cute guy in it. So like,
what the get out?
I'm kidding.
He's cute, but also giant monsters.
Right.
Giant monsters.
I'm,
like, that's
I'm
cool, I
mostly
guess.
kidding.
Who? I feel like was that everyone? Or
Yeah.
no? Kyle, what is yours?
I said the Quentin Tarantino movie.
Oh, you're just gonna say Annie. Wow.
I think Inglourious Bastards would be a good one. I think Hateful Eight would be a good one because it'd be
Be
like
interesting.
you could do like a mystery style. Like you have
Be
to
like
figure
Clue.
out.
What if you did like the movie that had it's about the slave
Django.
No, not Django, the other one, the really sad one.
12 Years a Slave?
Yeah, what if you did that as like a sneaky game?
Ooh.
As like
Tom
like a-
Clancy's
I've never seen
Splinter
that.
Cell kind of
yeah, like a
Yeah.
Splinter
Sounds
Cell, like a
like that.
thief, and you make it, and you have to like escape, like a period piece, right? Why have we never had a period piece during like the Civil War?
You know what they should
About
make?
like stealth as a slave.
Why do I have any Civil War games?
I thought we do.
The History
Do we?
Channel actually produced
Yeah, the
one.
history. Oh, it's
Yeah,
garbage. It's
yeah,
complete
they're not
utter
very good.
garbage. But like, why don't we have like stealth games where it's like, okay, I'm
Sure,
playing
it's
as
supposed to be
like,
a textbook.
Yeah,
just
right.
hand to you, like,
Who
have fun,
needs to
it's
play a game when
Use
you
your
can-
imagination.
Yeah.
It's like D&D, but without...
the fun, the fun.
I thought about doing like my favorite movie of all time is Goodfellas. I don't know if you guys
Oh
have
my
seen
God,
it.
yes.
It's a if you don't know what Goodfellas is, watch it first of all. It's fantastic. It's an old mob movie that stars Ray Liotta, Joe Pesci, and Robert De Niro in it. And it's a mob movie, and so you can kind of get the feel of what that one is all about. And it's got some very, very iconic lines in it. What?
What about Hellboy?
Hellboy would be neat. I don't know how well it would be received.
What
no,
kind
no,
of
stay with
game?
it. I was gonna say, what if you did it in the way, because Hellboy's like a whole comic series, correct?
Right.
And like, what if you did it in like how the old like Marvel Avengers like assembled, where it's like that 4-person like
The
team kinda-
Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Ultimate Alliance kind of way, where you could shoot. Like, I know Hellboy's in there, I think, but like, what if you did a whole game based around like that universe's characters? I could play as the fish person, or I could play as, or you could have like the gold golem dude, like the people.
Have
like,
it in like the comic art style too.
Yeah.
Like make it 2D.
That'd be real
dude,
cool.
I'd
like
be so
like a side scrolling, kind of how the did y'all ever play the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yes.
Where like you like just go throughout the level and attack all the enemies. Go to the one section, go to the next.
I'm here for it.
I would be so down with Hellboy.
I'd be so bad. We could. I just want to play as sexy fish man. I'm just saying. They literally
Well, let me
made.
tell you, I got a movie for you. It's
Oh
called
my God.
Shape of Water.
Stop! No, they literally made. Literally, I watched a like a behind the scenes thing, and they literally told the people. They told the camera. They were like, "We tried to make him as attractive as possible as a fish man," and to me, it worked. He's endearing. He's strangely attractive, and I'm like. I'm confused. Does this mean I want to fuck? Does this make me a gay fish? Am I Kanye West?
Oh, okay. I got one more suggestion for a movie to turn into a video game. You guys ready for this?
I'm ready for it.
Go for it.
John Wick.
That would be fun.
The fuck
Oh, no, no, no.
It's that, oh, you haven't seen John Wick?
Dude,
It's that Keanu Reeves movie where like that started recently, where it's like it's him in a black suit and he's just on a fucking revenge mission. He's
Literally,
just,
the first one is because of a dead dog.
the movie. The whole plot of the first movie is okay. So this all happens within the beginning of the movie. So this is not
No
spoiling
spoilers.
anything. This is basically the what sets him in motion to actually start like the plot of the movie. His wife dies. And when his wife dies, like she sends him a. It's like she has it set up so that for some reason that when she dies a puppy gets adopted from the shelter and brought to him, and he starts taking care of the puppy, and I don't know how they set that up. Whatever.
My name
cool,
is
I guess.
Mrs. Wick. My name is Mrs. Wick, and these are my tapes, and it's a puppy.
Whatever.
It's like 13 reasons. It's 13 reasons why. Get this. It's 13 reasons why, but it's 13 reasons why you should love a puppy.
Okay, so he gets the puppy. He starts taking care of it. He loves it. Like that's like the whole like first like 15 minutes of the movie. He's also got this car that he really loves.
Oh,
and he loves it. And then so he's at a gas station one day, and these Russian dudes ask him if they can buy his car from him, and he's like, no, fuck you. This is my car. Like, and so they're like, no, I don't think you understand. We're
here to buy your car.
We're here to buy your car. Like, we're gonna buy your car. And he's like, no, sorry, I'm not interested. So he drives home, thinks nothing of it, and blah blah blah. That night, those same Russian bad guys break into his house, beat the shit out of him, kill his dog, and steal his car. But then what they don't realize is that
He's a
they should have killed John Wick in that moment. But what they don't realize is that John Wick's life before he was this dude, before that, he was this contracted assassin, mercenary assassin,
and he's a part of this like network of like
assassins and like contracted killers and stuff like that, like very Hitman-esque. And like his dad, the dad of the Russian mobster or the Russian guy that like steals the car and kills his dog, is like, do you understand what the fuck you've done? Like
He's like, I don't get it. It's just a dog, man.
It wasn't just a dog, and it's not just a car. It's John Wick's dog and John Wick's car. Have you heard the tale of Baba Yaga? Baba Yaga is basically like the old world's name for the boogeyman, right?
Right.
And he's like, John Wick is the man that you would send to kill the boogeyman. Like people know who John Wick is, and so like you see like as he's explaining who John Wick is, you see like this scene like the voiceover is still going on, and who you see John Wick down in his basement, like fucking taking a sledgehammer to the floor of his basement, breaking up the concrete of the cement of his basement, and getting his guns and getting all of his stuff, and he straps himself, and he's just like
so good.
John Wick is the man who would kill the boogeyman, and you just fucking killed his dog and stole his fucking car. And so the whole movie is fucking. It's Keanu Reeves. Like Keanu Reeves does all of his own stunts in the movie.
It's like
he trained as a shooter for this film as well.
Yeah,
it's like Kill Bill 1, but like with Keanu Reeves and much like a lot more gore, and it's such a good time.
The John Wick drinking game, by the way, is you take a drink every time you see somebody get shot.
It's bad. It's bad. Also, the second one literally takes the first movie.
I haven't seen the second one.
Oh, I'm not gonna spoil it. It's so good. You need to watch it. It takes the first movie and like just expands it, and like eventually he's just like. Not explaining why, but he ends up just fighting everyone. Like, everyone around him, he's like, ah! Like, killing them. And I'm just like, what is It's great. And I feel like there should be, if there isn't, I'm going to be upset, there should be a third one. But
there is one, and they're also making a TV series based off of it.
Oh my god.
I'm so here for it.
There's enough lore for there to be a TV series.
There is.
Like,
also,
Willem Dafoe is in the movie.
Yeah.
The actor that plays Theon Greyjoy in Game of Thrones is like the Russian mobster asshole that steals the car and kills the dog.
What if they made Game of Thrones into a video game? I know. It's garbage. No, what if they did... Wait. What if they did Kingsman? What if they like redid the 007, like the 007 like GoldenEye
They
era?
need to have a good spy movie. Or not spy movie, spy game.
Is the movie that I was thinking about earlier.
Really?
With the dubstep.
With the dubstep.
boom, boom, boom,
No,
boom,
there's like
boom,
dubstep,
boom,
like
boom,
classical music in the second trailer.
Yeah.
boom.
But like, it's still... But like, Kingsman is such a good movie.
Ooh, what about the Transporter movies?
Oh.
With Jason Statham.
I'd be
really
about
good
that.
game.
Die Hard.
Oh yeah,
It's so good.
Or Baby Driver.
Do you want to like?
Baby Driver. I would so be about.
Okay.
Do you want to explain what Transporter is?
Like more contracts than
It's been a while
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it too.
Wait,
I think
Baby Driver?
No, Transporter.
Oh, Transport. Okay.
The Transporter movies are basically Jason Statham he's
basically like a kind of like not a chaperone, but
I think he used to be like a spy or something like that.
Yeah.
He ends up being like a chauffeur to get away from the life.
and like
He gets dragged back into it.
It's
Like,
cool. It's a very good
I
movie.
hate it when that happens.
What if they made Lucy into a movie or to a game where you're just like,
Atomic Blonde.
is that wait,
That's that Charlize Theron movie that's like basically like a female version of James Bond.
Sucker Punch?
Sucker Punch would be a good one.
Sucker Punch. It basically,
Watchmen. Give me the Watchmen video game.
They did. They made one.
No, I want a real one.
Oh, a real one.
I don't want the End is Nigh. I want a real Watchmen
I
video
want a
game.
kick-ass
I could-
video
I'd
game.
play
I want to
Telltale.
kick.
Kick-ass video game.
Kick-ass would be good. Kick-ass would be so good.
I remember when there was like a video game for every
movie.
Yeah.
What if I want
There's a
Peter? I
Winnie
want
the Pooh
Peter.
video game.
There is. Well, I want a Peter Rabbit video game.
I want an Emoji Movie video game right now.
Kill
No.
yourself.
No.
You might get it.
Hey, I tried.
No.
I tried.
I tried to fight for the people and I was shot down.
Well,
I'm
I think.
moving out. It's official.
Well, I think that's going to be it for this week for the YDN Cast. Travis, thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you for
Appreciate
inviting
it.
I love you.
Thanks,
I'll touch your
babe.
butt later.
Um,
Just kidding. He has a boyfriend.
Again, casual reminder, the website is now live. Please go to ydnerd.com. You'll be able to find this and other videos. You'll be able to see staff bios. You'll be able to look at all the hard work I've been putting in over the past week. Don't you want to see that?
I know I do.
You can buy a t-shirt with this logo on it. Bonfire.com/ydnerd.
It's pretty neat, I guess.
Support us so we can support you. That seems like a pretty good deal to me. Like the more money we have, the more better, the more better content.
better.
The
No
more,
more-
but
more
look,
better.
the listen.
Hey, I'll be able to fix my grammar if we have some more money. So buy some t-shirts.
Listen, I have the deal of this country. You give us money, and we will animate someone handsomer over my face. So you don't have to look
Please
at me.
think of the children.
Think
Buy
of
the season
children.
pass so we
Buy
can
the
do all
season-
Yes. We're proud to announce that loot
Look.
boxes are coming to YD Nerd.
Listen. You two can
Should
get
the box
a
have a t-shirt in it?
Logan's nude loot box.
Yes,
if you'd like.
exactly. Buy your own buy your own Your Daily Nerd loot box today. Go buy that T-shirt and you'll get a loot box in the mail. Guess what? It's gonna have a shirt in it.
Guess what? It'll have a T-shirt and a tasteful nude of one of us. Probably me, but one of us. You know.
If it's me, it won't be very tasteful.
It'll be I'll edit it to where it's tasteful. Instead of a dick, it'll be like a thumbs up.
Oh, God.
Kind of like this.
Yeah, it'll be like the follow where it like sticks out just like A.
Hey. So with all that
I
being
hate
said,
this.
thanks. I hate it.
That's the title right there. Thanks, I hate it.
So with all that being said, thank you again for watching this episode of the YDN Cast. We will see you next week. That's all I gotta say.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.